Donald Trump is back, ladies and gentlemen. The man is back. He is on Facebook. He is on YouTube. He has posted officially. And there's some rumors that he may be returning to Twitter as well soon. We will see. It's hard to know for sure. So we're going to talk about that. And as you may have noticed, it's St. Patrick's Day. So we had a special title card today. And so we're going to have a good, relaxing time. We also got to talk about, because of St. Patrick's Day, Joe Biden, who said that he's not really Irish because he doesn't have any family members, because he's sober and his family members aren't in jail, which I find highly offensive. As a person who is part Irish, Joe Biden has no right to insult my people. That being said, Seamus, everybody.
Well said.
That's actually a really good point, Seamus. It is very offensive to make stereotypical jokes about Irish people in that way. As an Irish person myself, I am deeply offended by what Joe Biden has said.
Yeah, and potato jokes, stuff like that.
I know. Yeah. So thanks for hanging out, Seamus of Freedom Tunes. You know, we missed you and we're glad that you're back. But joining us in actuality is Jennie Taer. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Hi, Jennie Taer with the Daily Caller News Foundation. I'm a reporter who covers immigration and the border.
Right on. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks.
Should be a relaxing Friday, I suppose. Phil?
Potato's a tough act to follow, I know. I am Phil Labonte, lead singer of All That Remains, anti-communist and counter-revolutionary.
And if you didn't know, I'm Ian Crossland. That's a sweet potato. It's blasphemy. It's not even a real potato. Although I know
It's a potato.
I like them better.
It's a different kind of potato.
Jenny, you said you were on both borders. This is a crazy story.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure you got so much to talk about. We'll talk about it on the show. It's great to see
For
you.
sure.
And,
Thank you.
You got to follow me anywhere, but let's get to it. Kellen, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's Kellen. Quick note, Discord is up and running, so you can hop in there right now. If you're a member on timcast.com, you get access to the Discord. So just quick reminder.
Yes, go to timcast.com. Let's pull that up right here.
Yes, sir.
And then you click that Join Us button on the website. You'll also notice there's a Discord button now, right there on the left. You can see I'm highlighting it. And when you go to that, it will give you the instructions on how to sign up for the Discord server, which is a chat program. You can hang out with other members of the website. And we reopened chat for everybody because now members it's all consolidated. So the main issue was we had people who were like, hey, there's no real way to chat when the show's going live because the chat goes crazy. And so we were like, let's try a members only chat to see if that works. And a lot of people were like, this is awesome. But there were a lot of people who didn't want to become members, or people who are already members at timcast.com. Like, I don't want to sign up twice. So we decided, well, we want to launch a Discord. So now if you're a member at Timcast, you get access to the members only chat room, which we should have up and running on our end Monday, so that for the members only uncensored shows, we can take in a call from the members, from you guys. And there are varying tiers we've set up. You can check that out. And like a VIP club, if you want to be in that, where we'll have Timcast crew members and other such people hanging out. And the other thing I'll say is I've got wicked food poisoning. I am very sick. So I may just like sit here drooling on myself while Phil, Ian, and Jenny talk about everything. But I didn't want the show to get canceled. But honestly, like after we filmed the Culture War podcast this morning, I just went to sleep and I woke up at like 6:30 and they were like, are we doing the show or not? I'm like, I'm coming. You know, it's just, I eat some yogurt. I stole Kara's yogurt. I had to do it.
That's fine.
It had to be done.
The aloe also, if you want to drink a shot of that, that'll do it.
Probably a good thing. So anyway, we're here and we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff. And it's good that we are because Donald Trump is back. Here's the first story that we got, timcast.com. Trump's YouTube has been restored. Posts first video in 2 years. This channel will continue to be subject to our policies just like any other channel. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just scroll right down. Here's the video from Donald J. Trump.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
That was it.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
4 seconds. 4 seconds of Donald Trump posted. It's got 115,000 views. And then the other big news is that Trump is back on Facebook. He posts for the first time on Facebook since January 6, 2021. And I think he just posted in big capital letters, I'm back. I think that's what it was.
You know, someone had mentioned that the mistake he's been making lately is that he's still in 2015 underdog mindset. I think it's Patrick Bet David, and that he's like the favorite. So he needs to use different tactics. I think if he just started doing short YouTube videos of like, I love you, you're going to do great in life, simple, like basic.
He should eat a taco bowl.
Yeah, you know, eat the common food, speak to the common man, but just give them short bursts of positive energy. That's all he needs to do to start rolling right now.
I'm not going to be happy till he's back on Twitter calling Rosie O'Donnell fat. I'm not going to be happy until he's doing it.
Didn't he say something about starting a WNBA team of men?
What? No.
I heard someone say that. I should fact check that.
Please do. And if it's true, Donald, please do.
Maybe he didn't say that. Someone told me that he said that. Maybe not. I don't know. Or
It's all very topical. I was just watching this interview with Michael Malice and Patrick Bet-David on Valuetainment. We talked about it a little bit before the show. And they were talking about Truth Social. The valuation of the company has dipped. Apparently, I haven't been able to verify this, but they were both talking about it too. It's like worth half of what it was worth. And that they're like, why hasn't he been on Twitter? Well, Patrick surmised that it's probably because he's trying to make sure people keep coming to his website to pay back his investors with Trump, the company that owns Truth Social, that SPAC that they did. And then
is that DWAC?
His DWAC? I'm not sure, but that. And they're like, maybe if Truth Social, because they were like, is Truth Social about to crumble? Like, is it falling apart? Are they about to close it down? And if it does, is that good for Trump? And then they were arguing whether it is or not. Some people like it'll free him up. He doesn't have to please his past investors anymore. He can go do whatever he wants again.
I mean, it's down quite a bit, but that's only because when it started, it spiked, and then I think DWAC reached like $100 a share March 2020, around March of 2022. What is this?
Trump's not as fun without the audience. Like Trump can say stuff on Truth Social, but he's not like when he's preaching to his own crowd, it's not as funny as when he's on Twitter with like reply guys going at it and, saying things to get people worked up. Because half the fun of Trump on Twitter was reading the replies and watching people, make videos and stuff. So I'm not going to be happy until he's fully restored to Twitter.
Do you consider yourself political, Jenny, or are you just straight news?
I'm pretty straight. I think also like Trump's Twitter, like you were saying, like it drove the news cycle. Like I don't think Truth Social, when he posts on there, it does that at all.
Nobody cares.
I think you need an account to even read stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you need it to be at least publicly able to be read if you want it to be part of the news cycle.
The great thing about Trump was Kofefi. I mean, you're not getting that with him posting the Truth Social.
I'm actually offended they won't tell us what really happened.
Well,
wasn't it we had Kash Patel here and he was like, I know what happened, but I'm not telling you. And it's like, dude, how dare you? We must know the secrets of Kofefi.
He also said that it was only like 2 people that actually knew, and I'm dubious about whether anyone knows at all.
Somebody sausage fingered the phone.
Yeah,
whoops, sent it. And then they were like, what happened?
Another point that they were making about the problems that Truth Social may be having, it's tough to tell because like you said, there was a spike in the beginning, is that Elon Musk bought Twitter. And the whole point of Truth Social is we're going to make a free speech social network. So he did it. He set it up. They got investment. They got it going. And then Elon bought Twitter and was like, now Twitter's a free speech social network. And everyone was like, well, what's the point of Truth now?
But also like right away, Truth Social turned into the right wing. So it wasn't just like the free speech alternative. It was so heavily partisan that it became the antithesis to Twitter. So Twitter's where all the left-leaning people were for a long time. Until Musk.
Look at Mastodon.
Well, that's what happened with
it's gone. Who talks about Mastodon?
There's still some people out there on Twitter that are really committed leftists.
And there are people who are committed to truth, but it doesn't matter. It's not in the conversation.
No, it's not at all. It's not at all.
Partisan social media is not the way. Social media is supposed to be a neutral ground. I mean, I think the best social media is
not been
a neutral offering where people can go at it if they want, or they can like communicate. It's hard if someone's like blocking a certain type of person. It's terrible.
And the thing, like, there's a lot of people that when Musk bought Twitter, they were upset that it wasn't a pure free speech platform. And I don't think that there was ever going to be. I think that was a mistake to think that it was ever going to be purely free speech, where like, you were never going to have Twitter turn into 4chan's B board. You know what I mean? It was never going to be, a Chan board or whatever. But with Musk, there aren't ideas that are repressed in the same way that ideas were repressed when the previous owners had Twitter, because all the stuff that's coming out now about whether it be the administration or whether it be COVID stuff and stuff with Fauci, or where COVID came from, et cetera, that stuff would have been heavily suppressed had the ownership still been the previous owners. I think that, and I don't think there's a lot of I don't think there's a lot of substance to arguments against that perspective.
Yeah, I agree. Were you thinking something?
I mean, I think like, as weird as it sounds, I think like the minute Elon took over Twitter, I was like, holy crap, all of the DMs, like in my spam DMs, it was like so many weird people that came through, which I guess is like a side effect of having to like open up the entire space. But it was weird to see more interaction that way, more interaction in like comments on things. I think it really did like open up what, you know, maybe people consider shadow banning or, you know, suppression of different accounts. Like, I think it really did change, like, automatically, I could tell.
And there was like a week after he bought it, I think a bunch of subscribers were lost and gained by different accounts all at once. A lot of stuff. What's that?
Leftists were losing followers like crazy, and the right was gaining followers.
I gained
like
a
crazy.
huge chunk. I gained like
Well, that means you're far right, Ian.
7% of my,
That proves it.
or 1% or something increase, but it was a large increase. Yeah,
That proves it.
it guarantees.
Yeah, lock them up.
Jail.
If you
Jail for
saw,
Ian.
he said today he's going to be open source all code used to recommend tweets on March 31st.
Wow.
This is a tweet from about 5 o'clock today. That's
There's
big.
going to be a code in there that says like, if Donald Trump equals yes, then promote equals no.
Yeah,
And I'm not even kidding. I mean, like, obviously he's gotten rid of that stuff, but we'll probably see some stuff like that he didn't find.
Yeah, that he threads on and says that it's going to be embarrassing for him and for Twitter for this stuff to be brought on there because the code is so horribly done. He's just been complaining about it for months. But he said, you know, that's the first step. It's the humility. You acknowledge how crappy it is, and then the community starts building it and fixing it and contributing. It's going to be great. This is the first step. This doesn't mean he's open sourcing everything. In fact, Minds replied, the open source organism will self-organize
Organism?
into something powerful. This is the way Bill talks, yeah, for sure.
To the social media
The
organism.
open source organism will self-organize into something powerful.
I was like, did you misspeak? Did you mean organization?
No, that's how Bill talks. He thinks of social media as a living organism. In the universe and stuff, he talks about it like it's an organism.
Demon, maybe.
Sometimes.
A Borg.
TikTok is for sure.
Yeah, creepy, man.
It's ruined me.
Are you
TikTok,
on it a
yes.
lot?
I'm a victim, yes.
How often are you on TikTok?
Every morning, every night. It's the only way I survive, honestly.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what do you watch on
totally
TikTok?
Rotted
Like-
my brain.
You watch like teenagers
Everything.
talk about cutting their junk off or something?
No, I'm not on that algorithm.
Oh.
I'm like on the like influencer, like, you know, girl who lives in New York. I'm on the cooking TikToks. I'm on the
cooking
travel TikToks.
The chocolate dude, the chocolate maker dude. The
yeah.
dude that there's
Who's
this
that?
dude that makes chocolate and like he'll make like he made a velociraptor out of chocolate and he made like a crane arm thing out of chocolate and it's like crazy stuff. People in the chat, you know who I'm talking about when I talk about the chocolate kind.
I like the workout TikToks because I'm trying to get my figure better, so I have to watch these women, you know, in yoga pants all the time. I'm kidding.
you're
I
not
think
alone.
it's completely ridiculous they do this.
Is this Amaury Gouchon?
I don't know
chocolate
his
guy?
name.
So when you're on TikTok, is it like, do you notice the algorithm trying to feed you things to get you to go down different paths?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the problem is that when you're in social settings, after you like watch TikTok so much and you're so addicted, like you're always looking for like that quick hit of dopamine and you're not getting it in normal social settings like you would on TikTok. So you're always like, I'm so bored and like I've cut myself
horrible.
off. It's horrible. And it happens to a lot of people. I'm pretty sure like girls were getting like tics from TikTok.
They were.
Like, literally,
That was a big story.
right?
They started twitching because
Yeah.
the algorithm would feed them videos of women with Tourette's, and then they would watch these videos endlessly of women ticking, and then they would start developing tics. This is the crazy thing. When I saw a story like that, I was like, maybe women are more susceptible to social engineering than men. I mean, I shouldn't say maybe. I think it's factually true. So the fact that women can generate a fake social Tourette's says a lot about what social media is doing to the fabric of society. And I don't think you can have the 19th Amendment and social media at the same time.
Yeah, I think we should keep the 19th Amendment. What,
No way. No way. Social media is way
I'm
more
joking.
useful.
do you think,
They'll clip that anyway, though.
AI is better than law? You could argue that. Like, no amount of copyright law can catch up with the amount of AI advancement. That thing's just completely obliterating the 1500s law of can't share my thing. Like, it takes pictures from all over the internet that are all copywritten, a bunch of them are, and then it just feeds you. Like, totally violates copyright law, but there's no way to stop
Are you
it.
talking about AI?
Yeah.
You know what I got to say, though, about the 19th Amendment? Now that I'm, like, sick and don't care all that much because I feel like crap, I don't care what these liberal lefty women think about me or my views anyway. You know? So if, like, all the conservative women are coming on this show and being like, yes, we should repeal the 19th, I'm just going to be like, okay, I guess. Like, I'm not going to pander to these leftist cult members. They don't mean anything to me. But then, like, what am I supposed to do? Tell the conservative women they're wrong because, like, hey, all these women are saying this thing, but you're wrong. It's like, well, either respect their agency as women who want to repeal the 19th through their own vote, or I don't. So if I'm going to respect them as women and their right to choose and make political decisions, their decision would be to give up their right to vote.
I mean, personally, I think that there is something to the argument that people need to have skin in the game if they're voting. So you have to have, just being able to vote for the government to give you, whatever kind of benefits or whatever, that's not fair to the rest of the population.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Exactly.
do
So
that.
I agree. I don't think that it should be just based on gender. Like I understand the arguments that people make and the arguments about, generally women are more emotional and blah, blah, blah. I understand that. But I still don't think that it should be based on gender. But I do think that there is an argument to be made that, which is the same argument that's been for a long time. The reason why men had the vote and women didn't is men were responsible for the women. So if a woman went out and did something that was wrong, men would get punished. So like if a woman destroyed a man, someone else's something, men would end up being, would have to be responsible for it.
The bigger issue is that men were drafted for war
That too.
and drafted for the fire brigade.
Sure.
And the idea was if you are here to volunteer for the community, then you have a right to vote. And then women advocated for the suffragettes said we shouldn't have to do anything and we should get the right to vote anyway. And they were like, okay. But that makes no sense. I think civil responsibility.
I don't think the suffragettes were making that argument. I think they were because there were.
No, that was a big component of. I was reading a bunch about the fire brigade was a big issue for the women who opposed the women's suffrage. Mm-hmm. Specifically, I can't remember the woman's name, but the opponents of women's suffrage said outright, "I don't want to be drafted or forced to join the fire brigade."
Yeah. Okay.
The argument was, "I don't want the civil responsibilities that come with voting. That's for men to do." And then the suffragettes were like, we should get those anyway, regardless of civil responsibilities. So the compromise was made when passing the 19th Amendment that women would be exempt from fire brigade and exempt, and because that was the argument from the anti-suffragettes. Mm-hmm. They were like, okay, well, how about this? We don't require any civic duty and you get to vote anyway. And they were like, well, now we have no argument.
What are your thoughts, Jenny? You're a woman. I want to know.
I mean, women gave birth to all these men making the decisions and to all the soldiers that were fighting. And a lot of them in wartime did step up and aid these soldiers and, helped in different ways. I mean, I believe I should have the right to vote. I believe women should have the right to vote.
There's that Rosie the Riveter, that meme of the girl doing this because she was building the bombs in the factories during
Every girl
World War
on
II.
Halloween now dresses like that, right?
Yeah. the issue that these conservative women often bring up, I'm more like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to, but like conservative women are very much anti-19th and liberal are pro it. But the majority of millennial women, 70%, are Democrats. And they just vote for this stuff, whether there's policy that makes sense anyway. So if only women voted, you'd have Democrat presidents. And if only men voted, you'd have Republican presidents. So the main issue, I think, is not so much whether it's an issue of women voting and women having a right to vote. It's an issue of men and women statistically vote in different ways that rip the country apart.
Totally. Well,
So I
right
don't know
now
how you
it's
solve for that.
abortion is the biggest thing for women that are my age, right? Like,
But I think that's actually a good example of women don't vote for things. They vote for feelings. And so like the fact that it could be abortion today or anything else tomorrow, the fact that the woke left seemingly has no cohesive ideology and they vote for whatever the stuff is regardless, I think is an element of gender-based voting biases.
I was just checking it out, and it's 1912. 1920 is when it was ratified. It's right around when radio picked up. Again, how this technology is changing us as a species. Like radio gave us the opportunity to listen to ourselves from a distance, like literally listen to yourself. It was the first time in history you could record it with a phonograph, really.
Well,
Thomas Edison.
recording happened a long time ago.
The phonograph, I think, was the first instance of it. Thomas Edison, it's pretty interesting watching him build that thing. He built it on a roll of paper, and it's like these different rivets on the paper, and then it would like pluck the thing and then recreate the sound of the stitching. That's cool. Pretty fascinating. But I think it's like women are more psychological than men. Men are more like brute, like animalistic.
Women are subject oriented, men are object oriented.
And then so being able to witness ourselves through radio allowed women to become much more, socially cognizant, perhaps, which is why this all kicked off in the early 1900s. Late 1878 is when it started.
I understand that, or I do agree that, radio did have a big effect on society, but I think that the seeds were planted before radio became normal. Because when the radio became ubiquitous, right, in the 30s, was it?
Let's find out. I know Tesla was working on it in the early 1900s.
And by ubiquitous, I mean, where
like-
most people had a radio in their home or something
It
like
was
that.
invented in the 1890s. I'll look into see when it became like everyone has a radio kind of thing.
Yeah, like I said, I think that radio and stuff like that did have an effect, but the ideas tend to come from philosophers and stuff like that. So the ideas that of human beings being equal, those ideas had been set into motion 100 years before the radio.
I disagree. I agree with Ian. There's a lot of philosophies. There's a lot of ideas. They don't all rise to the top. They don't all become prominent. I think happens with radio is you've got a radio station and they're thinking like, how many listeners can we get to this radio station, this new thing? And so they start making radio broadcasts and they're like, hey, guy, you did some broadcast about Catholicism and the Protestants are pissed. Don't do that. We're losing money. And they went, whoa, really? And so if you're trying to maximize the size of your audience, you are heading towards a woke direction that has nothing to do with literature or philosophy. All that matters is how can we offend the least amount of people? So if you look at what's happening today with the further the expansion of the flow of information, the issue is quite simply conservatives don't do anything, liberals do. So a business is looking at Netflix and there's like some story right now. What was it? We got some story we can talk about. I don't know if I have it pulled up. Oh, I do actually have it right here. Let's pull this up. So this is from the Federalist. Kellogg pledged $91 million to racial division while slashing employee benefits. How psychotic is that? Well, what happened was apparently activists started complaining that, Snap, Crackle, and Pop or whatever are white. And so the business sits down and they say, listen, what's happening? Well, we got 1,000 emails from these angry liberals complaining about white characters on our cereal boxes. Okay, what are conservatives saying? Nothing. They don't care. Well, okay, then we need to give the squeaky wheel the grease. When every company does that over 100 years, keeps giving the squeaky wheel the grease, or trying to just minimize anger, it is going to skew in the direction we are seeing it skew, regardless of what anyone writes about it.
Do you think that corporations are inherently woke, having their primary motive be profit?
Yes. It's simple. You've got 1 million people in a city, and Facebook says, we want 1 million members to join Facebook. Well, 200,000 are refusing because there's Trump's on the platform. Trump supporters aren't saying anything. They don't care. All right, we'll ban Trump then. Well, now we lost 50,000. We lost 50,000. We made 200,000, so we're good. That's basically what's happening. They don't think the negative it's cost-benefit analysis. If the cost of banning Trump is greater than the cost of not banning him, they wouldn't do it. But because they know, look, people are quitting. Look at Will Wheaton. He's like, I'll quit Twitter unless you ban Alex Jones. And then Twitter's like, what do we do? We're getting all these liberals to quit. Oh, geez. Oh, boy. We got to do something. And then, of course, all social media bans Alex Jones because the collective left threatened. And the collective left does typically follow through on this stuff.
I kind of agree that prioritizing profit and larger audiences leads you towards capitulating to whatever it is of the day. But then what about ESG? Because they've essentially said, we don't care how many people are here anymore. We want this thing to happen, so we're going to spend your money on it. Damn be the consequences. Damn be the losses.
It's the same thing. They get complaints from the left and no one on the right says anything. People on the right are like, well, I'm scared I'll lose my job. It's like, well, okay, there you go. You lost.
That indicates that corporations having a woke mindset of profit over everything else will lead them to a place where they eventually
do whatever the mob tells them to do.
Yes. They become so accustomed to doing what the mob wants for profit that they continue to do what the mob wants, even if it's unprofitable.
Until it implodes.
But what about what's happening in Silicon Valley? All these tech companies laying off people. You have to believe that some of them are the diversity, equity, and inclusion folks, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Microsoft just laid off its artificial intelligence ethics team or something like that.
That was funny. That was
weird.
hilarious as they're unleashing Chat GPT-4, which is giving it. You see the guy, he made a Twitter thread about giving it money.
Yeah.
He's like, I set a budget and told it to make money for me. And then it worked. And he's like, he's mostly getting investors right now, but he's doing whatever Chat tells him to do. But anyway, these companies are soulless entities that just do whatever they think will maximize their profits. And if the left will threaten a boycott and follow through, then you have to do what the left says. You may lose 10% of your audience because they're conservative, but you'd lose 30% of your audience because every liberal would quit and conservatives don't care.
And it stresses out the employees when people complain, which is another cost to your company.
We are seeing Netflix recoil because the woke stuff actually caused a massive backlash because I think what happened is they reached the point where they chased the dragon too far. And now the weird crackpot, interracial gay movies they're making are causing people to cancel because they don't want to watch it. And now Netflix is like, whoa, we're actually losing money. So the cost risk analysis has reached the tipping point. There was a movie on Shudder called The Spiral. And it's the stupidest movie I've ever seen. It's about an interracial gay couple with an adopted daughter. They move next to a white waspy family. And spoiler alert, everybody, because I doubt you're going to watch it anyway. The white waspy family are immortal because they kill marginalized people to like give themselves immortality. And I'm just like, this is what happens. This is your brain on drugs, right? These companies are like, look, the left is they're yelling in our ears. They're demanding this stuff. We got to give the audience what the audience wants. Then they make it and they're like, hey, wait a minute. We only got like 100,000 views on this movie that cost, $5 million. What happened? And it's like, hey, those loud people, they don't actually have money and they don't care and they don't represent regular Americans. So you make a movie like that. Look at Top Gun. I mean, Top Gun, we talked about the other night. Good old American Air Force, flying jets, military recruitment. Everyone on the beach, all physically fit, playing volleyball. That made $1 billion. So I think they're going to slowly start realizing they've lost their minds. That's a good thing.
I was thinking of the metaphor of flying too close to the sun. What you're saying, they chased the dragon too far. Like the idea that what the mob said is what the mob wants is not true. The mob can twist and shit can come out of their mouth that's not.
Well, the issue is when you've got an angry mob in front of your door and it's 500 people, you're like, I don't want them to burn down my store, so I'll just say whatever they want to hear. But that 500 does not represent the 5 million who live in your city who actually service your business. So they're giving in to psychopaths, and it's just eventually it's gonna destroy itself. That's the only thing I think could happen.
Yeah, melts the wings. Maybe it's not a perfect metaphor. That Icarus story, you guys know
Yeah.
Icarus. He flew too close to the sun, and he was flying with
dick.
wax wings, and then he got too. It was if the sun's
and
warm, why not get closer to
his
it?
His dad was like, hey, don't fly too high because the sun will melt your wings. Which is wrong because at a certain height, it's going to be colder in the atmosphere, which would keep his wings.
A good point.
Yeah. So, I'm sitting here like, I think the dad lied about what happened.
You think that's propaganda to keep people on the ground?
Yes.
Wow. They've been doing it
Icarus's
for
dad
billions of years.
was like, I am sick of
Billions,
this little
huh?
shit.
It goes on.
Billions.
Different planets and stuff. Yeah, propaganda is not a
sick.
new thing.
Yeah. Make sure you don't fly too
I mean,
close
they
to the
tell us
sun.
there were angels, that they had wings and they could fly. I think they had hang gliders, realistically. Like, they figured out how to glide, and they would just tell people, yeah, we have wings. Don't even try it. Like, whatever you think you can do, you can't. You're a substitute serves.
Weren't angels described as like these big things with all these eyes and like wings in a wheel shape that would spin and like float through the sky or whatever?
Oh, flying machines, crazy
I don't
machines
know.
with lights on them and stuff.
I have no idea.
I have no.
I was reading this report that said scientists are increasingly thinking that time is cyclical. And that means like we go forward far enough and then we go back. And so there is no dawn of time. There's only like after 100,000 years, humans have wiped themselves out and the planet shifts to the point where it destroys everything on it and then goes back to the beginning and then humans reemerge and we're trapped in this cycle over and over again forever.
Sounds like the plot of Dark on Netflix. Have you ever seen that?
No,
It
I think that
sounds
movie's in German,
much-
right?
Yeah, it's 3 seasons. It's in German, but it sounds just like Dark. How it's a big cycle and everything that happens.
I don't sprocket
is the
the
cause and
Deutsch, so I
effect
didn't
of
watch
everything
it.
else. You can, English just
Nah.
subtitles.
I watched this zombie movie today.
What?
What is it called? I don't know. It's a South Korean zombie movie. It's actually pretty good.
On
like-
Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Oh, man, we did an episode of Pop Culture Crisis earlier that was awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, you're going to have to check that out after the show. It's just me and Dane, dude. Dane Font crushing it. And Mary and Brett, of course.
Of course.
Okay, I don't think I had anything else about God unless you guys want to talk about the helixing nature of the universe and the twisting singularity that we're about to experience in 70 billion
What was that,
years.
Seamus?
That's basically today.
What was that? What was that, Seamus?
What?
Yeah, exactly. Time is irrelevant.
That's actually the funniest thing you've ever said. You should write that down.
I'm glad he's here. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, write that down. That was a good one, Seamus.
I brought up this twisting universe. They said the universe is expanding, and this is the theory up until last week or something, that it eventually will go so far away that it goes on forever. I don't buy it. I like the cyclical thing a lot better, that it's twisting around like coming back on itself and experiencing the singularity and the Big Bang every time it goes through the center. And the reason that it looks like it's shifting red, which indicates that it's getting further away, is actually because the frequency, the wavelength itself is bending as it twists around. So it's an optical illusion.
It wasn't Train to Busan, although I did see that and I liked it. It's called Alive. #Alive. Yeah, I watched that today. It was pretty good. He's like locked in his house, and they're in this dense urban environment where all the zombies are. You know, I don't want to spoil the movie. I liked it. It's dubbed though. You know. Hey, let's talk about Joe Biden. We got this story from the New York Post. Biden jokes he's really not Irish because he's sober, doesn't have relatives in jail. I'm sorry, guys. I got to say it based. Like, this was a funny racist joke made by Joe Biden. You know what I mean? Like, I remember asking Seamus if it was racist to make jokes about Irish people, and he said yes. What was that, Seamus? You don't like the jokes. You think it's derogatory?
Mm-hmm. On St. Patrick's Day?
On St. Patrick's Day of all... What? Well, come on. That's a little harsh, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, we were saying. I'm Irish, so I'm allowed to make these jokes. Is anybody else Irish in here?
Yeah,
I am, yeah.
I am as well.
Phil, are you Irish?
No, I am not.
No, Jenny, you're not Irish?
Jewish.
Jewish. Oh, man. So there's three people who are part Irish. So we're allowed to make the... If you guys make any jokes, then we'll kick you out.
I honestly think it's a hilarious joke that Joe Biden made. It's funny.
I know, it's funny. Like, wow, that's shockingly ethnically offensive.
It sounds like a Trump line.
I know, right?
Like, if you replaced Irish with black, and he was like Barack Obama made a joke about it being black, and he's like, because I don't eat this and have this, like, it would be the most offense. I mean, ridiculous. Even for a black dude to say it would be so
Danger, Will
racist.
Robinson.
No, but you're right.
Danger.
Like, saying a certain ethnicity is, you know, only real if they're drunk and in jail.
It's
That's
horrible. What a
amazing.
stereotype.
I know, it's funny. But he's Irish, so he's allowed to say it, right?
Good for
is that,
you,
is that
Joe.
how it works?
I mean,
How you guys doing? I'm chilling.
I'm not used to being the butt of jokes, like racially, so I don't know how sensitive, what you should do about racially insensitive jokes. I've never really been that bothered by them.
You should probably just not make them. It's a safe bet.
And just let other people make them. Don't be like, hey.
Well, I mean, look, anytime you're... personally, I'm not going to police someone else. Like, I'm not going to be like, man, you shouldn't say this or you shouldn't say that. Like, if someone says something offensive, I'm going to be like, you know,
Look, man,
like, you know, do that, the whole Homer Simpson fading back into the hedge behind him, you know?
Dave Chappelle did a bit on one of his comedy specials where he squinted his eyes and his mouth and then made like offensive Asian stereotypes, and I laughed my ass off at it.
Yeah.
And then I guess what happens is if the woke people are like, that was offensive, and I say something like, you're correct, they'll go, well, because you're Asian, you understand. But if I say, actually, my family's part Asian, we found it hilarious, they'll say, well, you've internalized your white supremacy or something.
Yep.
You're white. It's like,
That's exactly how I feel, because he makes jokes against Jews and then the Jewish community like freaks out and you're like, no, calm down. Like, then every time, it's like Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's like every time you like freak out, it's something small. And then when something really big happens, it's going to be like, oh, whatever.
Well, Trump derangement
It's a joke.
syndrome's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it is.
Sam Harris, that guy's brain is just gone. You know, he was like, he did that podcast with Lex Fridman, and he's like, it's you who have Trump derangement syndrome if you support Trump. And it's like, I saw, who was it? Joe Walsh, I think it was.
Yeah, he's a clown.
He said something like, why don't you want to be woke? And then
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, I was like, bro, because you're in a cult. These people are like, if you disagree with me, you love Trump. And I'm like, it was really funny when Dave Smith, who hopefully announces he's running for the presidency as a libertarian, he was on this show and they were like, you Trump supporters, and he's like, I'm a libertarian. It's like, I hate Trump. I don't like the guy. Like, why are you assuming? Because they're in a cult. Their brains are in a cult. They live in a world where there's only Trump or no Trump. And if you disagree with them because Biden's bad, then you must love Trump, even if you're actively smack talking Trump. It's a cult, man.
I wonder what cult I'm in. I feel like everybody's in a cult.
Graphene.
The graphene cult?
Yeah, you won't let it go, man.
The Mars
Some
cult?
kind of earth worship or something like that, probably.
The Gaia?
Probably something along those
Cult of the
lines.
eminent Gaia? Yeah.
Something earthy crunchy.
I do believe that like consciousness is a spirit, is like a magnetic field. Is
Yeah,
that if other
it's
people
earthy.
start to believe, you know, when I started making YouTube videos, it was a long time ago, like
I just hear
06.
granola.
You do?
No.
Oh, okay, good. It got very culty. Like internet video produces cults of personality where you become obsessed or in love with the person you watch and you subscribe to them and you pay them and like you support them and you follow them. And it's like, it can, if you bare your soul to that, it can become very like culty, like weirdly culty. The nice thing what you do is it's a business for you. You keep it very business oriented. It's very professional.
I mean, that's true for any famous person, you know?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
you've got all these celebrities who are doing OnlyFans. They're not doing porn, though. They're just posting bikini photos or whatever. And they're making millions in
And
like days.
When you get emotional and then they start to get attached to that, you'll notice they scream your name and they don't even care what you're talking about. That's when it's like, this is culty. I don't like.
Can I pretend I'm offended at Joe Biden's Irish comments and like impeach him for it or something? Oh, geez, that's like he said the N-word for Irish people.
It's
right
violence.
There. You know, yeah, it was violent. He attacked me. So
I think
I'm gonna need him to be impeached. Jim Jordan or Matt Gaetz, if you could just maybe come in this weekend and file those impeachment papers.
This is like getting dealt a trump card, an ace of spades when you're playing spades, and you're like, holy, I get to hold this in my hand now, and this is going to
Dude, they don't
guarantee I don't
care.
lose every hand.
No, they don't care.
Because he's indicating that it's okay to make racist jokes, which it is. It's not. It's free speech. You're allowed to do that.
So now you need a video of a little kid who's like watching and going, "Ha ha! Irish people are dumb," and saying stuff like that.
Well, that's
like, look what Joe Biden has done to these children.
That's the downside of racist jokes, but yeah, that's life. You know, you need strong parents to tell kids like you're going to hear and see this stuff.
I guess.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
if you're white passing, you can be racist.
Yeah, if you're Irish
You
but
know?
you pass for white, then you're okay because no one will know that you're drunk or in jail.
Irish people are not white.
I guess not. I mean, Luke's got blonde hair and blue eyes, and they don't consider him white.
He's a Slav. He's not white.
You know, man.
I mean, it shouldn't surprise anyone that Joe Biden said something like that. It's not offensive to, I mean, anyone really. I mean, for the most part, most people just are going to be like, whatever. I don't imagine there's going to be a significant constituency of Irish people that are going to actually be up in arms about it. I mean, I just don't imagine that they're going to have anything to say about it. So it's going to go away and whatever. And you should expect something brainless to come out of Joe Biden's mouth because, by noontime he's out of it.
Joe Biden could actually make disparaging comments about like black people, and they wouldn't care. They would immediately respond with, well, Donald Trump called Mexicans rapists or whatever, so you have no room to talk or whatever, and you're going to be like, he never said that, dude. But they don't care.
It is a situation of, the hierarchy of acceptable people and unacceptable people. So there is that. But again, it's just a matter of Joe Biden is like they're just going to ignore whatever he says for two reasons. One, he's the president and he's on the left ostensibly, and two, because they make excuses for him because he's got tapioca for brains.
Right.
They do.
I mean, yeah, if they really were to respond to this, they'd say, oh, well, old Joe's got brain issues, so we forgive him. And it's like, oh, now he's got brain issues.
And it's fine. I mean, obviously, it was vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Everyone knew he was a mess 2 years ago. And
Seamus and I are starting a nonprofit to advocate for the rights of Irish people. It's called People Organizing Together Against True Oppression.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for people in the audience to put that one together.
Yeah, write that down. It'll make more sense.
It was actually a bit we wrote for Cast Castle because I was watching Leprechaun one day. This is a true story. And there's a scene in Leprechaun where the leprechaun bites a guy and then he starts turning Irish. I'm not even kidding. He literally starts turning into an Irish guy. And he's like, he's like a normal guy and he gets bitten. And then I love those movies. He goes to a restaurant and he's like, I'll have the mashed potatoes, the French fries, the waffle fries, sweet potato fries, the tater tots. And then he's just got nothing but potato and he's like eating it. And then this is a true story. Seamus walks in the living room and he's like, what's up, buddy? What are you watching? And then he turns and looks at the TV and he goes, what the? And he was like, yo, this is the most racist thing I've ever seen. And I was like, yeah, it's Leprechaun. And he was like, is he just stuffing potatoes? And I'm like, yeah, he's eating potatoes. And he was like, oh my God. So then we wrote a bit about people organizing together against true oppression.
Potato, in case you haven't figured it out yet. Is it, in regards to the way that critical theorists view society, is it only racist if you make fun of a marginalized community? Or is it still racist if you make fun of a non-marginalized community, but it's okay that it's racist?
It's not. So according to the left, it's not racist if you're punching up.
Yeah.
Racism is prejudice plus power. It can only be applied to those who are weaker than you. So if a white homeless guy is laying on the ground with no teeth and he's shivering in the cold, and then, a marginalized person walks by him and stumbles on him, and the white homeless guy says, hey, don't you stumble on me. They're going to be like, whoa, that was racist. Like, how dare you? Because he's white. Then it doesn't matter that he's dying.
It would make people try to become victims and marginalized so that they can protect themselves from the racist jokes.
That's the standard behavior now. People do it all the time. They constantly are using victimhood or whatever as insulation or whatever.
Where's the Irish reparations? We're talking about San Francisco, and they're saying if you identify as black, you qualify. If you live there and you identify as black, what about Irish need not apply? Huh?
It's the McDonald's large fry is their reparations.
The discrimination in lending against Irish people. I think Irish people should get reparations. The government should give me your money.
The Irish died in droves trying to do the Erie Canal. That was slave labor.
That's right.
So
that's exactly right.
Is it because the British
my people have suffered and have been oppressed historically, and I should get money from the government for free.
Is it leftover
your money, by the way?
Propaganda, British propaganda, because they hated the Irish because they were like island barbarians that wouldn't capitulate to the empire?
Well, the Irish and the British have always had issues with each other. There's a lot of Protestant and Catholic animosity involved in that. I don't know the details. I'm not interested in the politics on those little islands.
I don't think they're actually barbarians. They come from barbarian tribes or whatever you want to call them, but tribes back in the day.
We got to get serious, you guys. We have this story from NBC News. Law enforcement agencies are prepping for a possible Trump indictment as early as next week. I've actually seen rumors that they're gonna try and perp walk Trump next week. I mean, I'm really excited because it means I'll have a video to make that will get 1 million views. So this is always good news for me when they talk about arresting a guy unjustly. Oh geez, look at this unjust behavior from Joe Biden for the 800,000th time.
What are the charges that they're expecting? Discussing potential security.
Hush money payment to Stormy Daniels.
That's
all they could get against him.
They're gonna perp walk a former president over that.
Dude.
Wow.
They're scared of Trump, man.
Yeah, they are. And
so I don't know if you guys watched the Culture War podcast with Sovereign Bra, but he was talking about how people believe Trump is the Antichrist.
This is fascinating. I think that it's based in. It could be. You could argue this. This is. I didn't see the show yet. This is Chase.
I don't think you can literally argue it. I think people will find things about anybody to stick to the prophecy or whatever. And so they just look at Trump, who's got a storied life, and then try and apply prophecy to wherever they can. And so basically, like, you could probably apply Revelation to Phil in some way. If you find enough out about him, you can be like, did you know that it was 6 months, 6 days, and 6 hours after he was born that there was an eclipse or something? And people go, whoa. It's like, you could find that number anywhere, dude.
And then play his songs backwards.
Yep.
Oh, God.
That's what you really hear. Were you saying, I think, Jenny, that...
And there's going to be a song where it's just like, you're not really saying anything backwards, but people are going to be adamant you're saying, I am the Antichrist. Like, I am the Antichrist.
My mom was convinced that Judas Priest was telling people to kill themselves back in the 80s. That was one band that she was not cool with me listening to. I had like Iron Maiden. I was hiding Iron Maiden records because if she saw The Number of the Beast, she saw that record, it was over. Those were going out too, but I couldn't stop her from
look at this Twitter account. This is some of the greatest stuff. Donnie Darkened. Donald Trump is the chosen Antichrist. They have been foreshadowing this for centuries. Here is the proof. Read pinned thread before interacting with my profile. Yo, this is so funny. He says, I've been saying for a while that Satan's plan has always been about destruction and rebirth. Order out of chaos. I believe that the true beast kingdom will be the one that humanity will fight for rather than against. Like, I agree with that. Like, the woke people are fighting for the complete destruction. Like, I do not think Trump is the Antichrist. In fact, I think he's the resistance too. If anything, if I was going to make an argument, Klaus Schwab probably makes better sense. But I guess the issue is the Antichrist is supposed to be a charismatic leader with like military prowess or something.
Why is he always American? The Antichrist is always an American person.
Who did they think the Antichrist was based on Nostradamus? Was it Saddam?
I do not know.
I feel like, or whatever?
I feel like they moved that around. They were like, oh, it's Saddam for whoever was, the most recent bad guy. I feel like there's been multiple people making arguments that person X or Y is the Antichrist.
Yeah. And Mabus,
an
alleged predecessor to the third Antichrist.
When I think of Christ, I think of energy. Like, they called Jesus of Nazareth after he was gone, or maybe during his life, they started calling him the Christ because he possessed that energy. That it means anointed. It means Christ. To be Christ is to be anointed by God.
The anointed one, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
So the anti-Christ is the anti-anointed. And that doesn't have to be one individual. It could be Joel Osteen. It could be people that are betraying the faith by making money off of it. And it's just erupting in a bunch of people at once. Just like the return of Christ is going to erupt in a bunch of people at once.
Yo, I just got to say this. Donald Trump means herald of the world ruler.
Herald of the world ruler?
So that's my generous interpretation. Donald is Scottish Gaelic for world ruler, and Trump references the trumpet sound of heralding in something, the trumpet blast. So my argument was when we were reading about Ingersoll Lockwood books from the 1800s that predicted like Baron Trump or whatever, I'm like, Baron's the real guy. Because his name is Baron.
Yeah,
like if there was
giant.
going to be a supervillain, it wouldn't be the guy who heralds the world ruler. It would be the Baron. The sound.
Well, yeah. And have you seen him?
He's a monster.
He's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
And you don't want to see him when he's angry because he gets bigger.
Hey, man, he's been quiet and he does look like, that's the thing. You don't want to abuse people. Like Andrew Tate sitting in prison, he's going to come out radical, more radical than before. That's the problem with people insulting Donald Trump all day. That's hurting Barron. That's making him crazy in a way. And if he does end up getting power with that Trump name and he's twisted because of the way he was abused as a kid because of his association with his dad, that's not good.
Let me ask you guys though. There's like an element of excitement to Donald Trump being the Antichrist, and you all know it. Everyone agrees, right? Like Trump rises up and he's floating through the air and he's like levitating and he's like his eyes start glowing and then he fires a lightning blast and like destroys a building and you're like, what does this have to do with the prophecy or whatever? But like there's an element of excitement to great historical change and historical moments where I think a lot of people, I'm only half kidding actually. A lot of people are looking for purpose desperately. And if Donald Trump did turn out to be some prophesized world leader, be it the Antichrist or the one who stops him or whatever you want to call it, like people are desperate for some kind of great war of our generation.
I feel like that's one of the things that motivates a lot of people that are anarchists on the left. I don't feel like it's so much anarchists on the right, but the anarchists on the left are very much. It seems to me that they have the desire to kind of tear the system down, like tear everything down because they believe the system is unjust, and they believe that any other system that comes in its place is going to be better, which is probably the opposite of true. Like we probably have about the best system that we can kind of get away with.
I got to play this video.
And kiss.
Here we go.
If I hadn't brought you in by now, oh heavens, you would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman. Sighed the vicious snake. Whoa. I have saved you, cried the woman. And you've bitten me, heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
So the argument is he's saying Trump is confessing to like all the people around him that, would some just fall?
Sorry, my purse.
Oh, they're arguing that Trump is outright telling you he's the snake or whatever.
I've got to say, I do not think he is the Antichrist. I'm reading about it a little bit. The Antichrist apparently is an imposter, is like purporting to be the second coming or Christ. That's why I think of these pastors that have these mega churches like Joel Osteen. Like he's telling people that he's a vessel of God.
Yeah, but the Antichrist is supposed to have military prowess, charisma, a special look about him. You know what I mean? And besides, like the Antichrist is supposed to usher in the mark of the beast, which is something that affects all people, that bars you from buying or trading unless you bear the mark. And it's not like Donald Trump executed any kind of program like that.
Yeah, like he didn't do warp speed.
Yeah,
he did do warp speed. Yeah, he did do. Oh yeah, that's right. He did do it. He did do that. Good
That's
point.
the joke.
I tried to make it funny. Did that fall flat? Was it you that were saying that before the show, Jenny?
Well, he did all of that. He did Operation Warp Speed. He did 15 days to slow the spread or whatever. He was bringing in Fauci. Like, he is that person. So maybe I think like in 2024, like that's going to be maybe something that DeSantis or whoever it is can go after him for, because people are upset about that. Like certainly in his base.
Not only are people upset about that, but he has done nothing to walk it back because he's Donald Trump, and everything that he does, he never walks anything back.
This is my favorite.
He's just going to be like, oh, it's fine.
Look, Donald Trump's famous 666 hand sign.
Oh my God,
Dude, this is Trump derangement syndrome is real. It's
It is.
absolutely real.
He makes people crazy.
He does, man.
It's both manufactured and organic. Like obviously the liberal. I don't want to blame the military-industrial complex anymore. I'm done doing that. Lockheed Martin's doing its job. It's prevented World War III. They're building the weapons we have used to protect the world.
All right, I'm going to say it.
For better or worse.
It's going to be 20 years from now, and Ian is going to be sitting on a throne of skulls.
It's the economics.
They're going to be like, it was Ian the whole
I'm
time.
not the
He was
Antichrist. I promise.
What?
It's the economic system that's the real threat. These weapons manufacturers are doing weapons manufacturers do. They always have. It's the economic system, the liberal economic order that's the problem. And that's the thing that seeded doubt about this guy. They didn't like this guy because he was throwing a wrench into the transition into the new world order.
What if like we're all laughing, but Ian actually does become the vice president under Trump?
I would do it.
Nervous.
I have to do it.
Because he was begging Cash. He was like,
Nervous.
Cash, I got to be the VP. And Cash is like, what are you doing?
Cash wants you. I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it. Someone's got
Cash
to
was
do it.
telling me to be VP. I was like, why are you joking? That's not even funny.
I will pay extra in taxes so that way the Secret Service is extra well funded to protect the life of Donald Trump should Ian be the vice president.
Dude, what if me and Donald Trump were the Christ and the Antichrist? Because they're supposed to oppose each other. And I would just be like, no.
Are you saying you're the bad guy?
I would just be his opposite. I'm not going to let him steamroll people and be cruel. I will not let that happen.
But
if I was his
he's
VP,
like
I
fixing
would.
things.
What if, Ian?
I mean, isn't that how it was like now after the fact, how Trump views Mike Pence? Like, isn't it that kind of
Oh, you're
dynamic?
saying that Pence is the Antichrist?
No, I mean, in his view,
That proves
they're kind of
it.
at odds, right?
Yeah.
After-
Pence is nothing. He's nobody.
Yeah, Pence didn't really. I never saw him push back against them. I mean, I wouldn't do it in public. That would be demeaning. I mean, I would love to sit with Donald as president and vice president and do a talk show where we just go at each other about ideas.
I think
That'd be so hot.
I think what would happen if like the Antichrist actually did show up is that Ian's the kind of guy who would go around saying that he was the opposition of the Antichrist, but he would just be Ian. You know, like people would be like, okay, buddy.
Yes, debase, make uncertain. That's how you subvert the New World Order, man.
I guess. So anyway, they're going to arrest the guy.
You think they will?
Yeah, I do. I was reading a thread. I can't remember who posted it. Jenna Ellis maybe or Emerald Robinson. Somebody said that the goal is to drain the war chest, to take away any funding he might have for a presidential run. They can't stop him, but they can rip his funds away. And as the incumbent or as a former president, it's a different race. When he was running the first time, he didn't spend a whole lot of money. He just used natural press. But now that may not work again. He's going to need to do standard press buys, and they're going to try and rip that from him. I'm excited for political season because it's a very important time of the every 4 years where we make 10 times as much money because of all the ads that run on the content. It's funny when people are like, I got an ad for Bloomberg, and I'm like, do you like him now? And they're like, no. And I'm like, so he gave me free money. How about that? I'll tell you, right?
Yeah.
I'm half kidding. I mean, obviously, ad rates skyrocket for cultural commentary, politics, etc. So it'll get wild. And I think this may be the biggest. Every 4 years since the dawn of social media, it's been the biggest presidential expenditures. So this time around, they're gonna look. They're already claiming Trump's the Antichrist. You know, like imagine what's gonna be happening. People are gonna go insane. If you thought 2020 was crazy, 2024 is going to be bonkers.
Like a deep fake of Donald being like, I am the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Whoa. What are you talking about, Ian? What are you talking about? Let me play a video for you. All right, let me play a video. In this thread, they have a video.
I am the chosen one. What? I am the chosen one.
It's there already.
Oh, shit.
Here you go.
So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China.
He's basically saying, for the past decades, whatever, no one has been standing up to China. Somebody had to do it. I guess it's me. I am the chosen one. I'm going to be the one to do it. And then the left went nuts, and they were like, he's claiming he's the Messiah. And they're going to claim he's the Antichrist seriously. And they're going to have conversations like, listen, man, like, I'm not saying I believe all this stuff, but
I don't even know what to do with that. Like, if that actually
Vote for him.
happens, well, I mean, I want to vote for Dave, to be honest with you.
I'll always be back to.
Yeah, Dave Smith sounds good.
Oh, I'm Vivek Ramaswamy all the way.
Really?
Yeah, unless someone can convince me of a better economic plan. Are you familiar with his work, Vivek?
Oh, yeah. I've already predicted what Trump's nickname for him is going to be. I think it's going to be Ramaswampy.
Wow, that's a good one. You should write
maybe
for him.
advise the man.
Right now, like Cash is watching, and he was like, "That was good." It's like Trump, Ramaswampy. Ooh, that's too good.
Yeah, because the DeSantis ones aren't so good. Like,
You know,
I don't know if the meatball Ron.
That one's pretty good.
I feel like he might just
Meatball?
I don't
be
know.
like he'd just be like not Cash or something like that.
I love Meatball
Not Cash
Ron.
Patel.
Like when I hear Meatball, I think you're probably right. It doesn't work because it's not offensive. It's not derogatory. Calling him Meatball Ron just is so funny. It doesn't make me not like DeSantis.
Is he Italian? Obviously,
DeSantis.
DeSantis. That sounds Italian. That's why he's called a
Meatball Ron.
meatball.
I don't know what that means. It's just funny.
It's a slur. It's an Italian slur, I think.
Apparently, people really hate DeSantis right now. Like, there's videos of them burning DeSantis flags. Trump supporters are like, "No, DeSantis," and they're like burning it.
He was explaining why he extended the state of emergency in Florida, and they're like, "Why'd you do it for so long, a year?" And he was explaining that he was actually able to divert funds easier and force schools to stay open and force them to not mask and stuff because he could withhold funding as long as he was in a state of emergency.
If Ron was VP, he'd be a 10 out of 10 vice president. If he's president, he's like a 3 out of 10.
Oh yeah, even if I was like up to the last minute, if I was running and I was the guy that was going to be VP and DeSantis wanted to do it, I would step down for him.
That's very honorable.
I
of
think
you
he's a superior
to
governor at this
step
state.
aside to let Ron DeSantis be vice president.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the scale of presidentiality, Ron DeSantis is certainly on the scale. He is presidential, but he's very, very low relative to Trump. But in terms of VP, like that dude screams best VP. You know what I mean? Like Joe Biden's not even on any of these. He's not presidential or vice presidential. He's a bumbling dotard with a broken brain.
he looks like he looks fragile and frail when he's walking around.
Looks.
Yeah.
But DeSantis doesn't have that same degree of X factor as Trump.
He's not an actor.
Yeah, it's very stodgy. As much as I like DeSantis, you know, I think he's a great governor. I think he's great policies and everything. He doesn't have that gravitas.
It was Glenn Beck. He did an interview with Glenn Beck recently that was pretty good. That's where he was talking about why he extended state of emergency, and it was very human. You could tell he's like, hopefully he'll settle into it because I really like him. I mean, I like what
was
he's
that,
done.
Seamus?
I don't know him.
What was that? Oh, did I just pull
I
something?
think that
out?
was Seamus.
Was that you,
The
Seamus?
ghost of Seamus.
Seamus disconnected.
Seamus O'Coughlin.
That's actually a really good point about Trump. That may be one of the most profound things ever said. Wow. That may actually convince men in the left to vote for the man. That was really. You should write that down, Seamus.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, I'm impressed. What were we talking
No,
about?
I didn't mean it like that. Yeah. No. I want to talk to you, Jenny, a little bit about the border. You guys are
Yeah.
down for a hard transition. I'd like to transition into this. You work on the border. You've been with the Daily Caller. You've been to the southern border and the northern border.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What is the craziest thing you've seen?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'll tell you that on my northern border trip, I didn't realize how many people were coming both ways. So what I did while I was down there or up there is I took a bunch of taxis filled with people from all over the world. They just filled up. People just flocked to them at the airport, at bus stops. They just somehow find the taxi. It's the craziest thing. So I was in a bus full of like Nigerians, Romanians, Saudis, Pakistanis, Afghans, like everyone, Colombians, and they were all going north. And the taxi would drop them off. They would get out. The Canadian authorities would tell them, you're crossing illegally if you decide to walk here. And they do. And then obviously the same thing happens at the southern border. And a lot of those people had crossed the southern border and decided they want to go further north. Eric Adams is busing them to that area, making it easier for them. And then you have people, of course, coming through the southern border. And I've met so many people south of the southern border that are now, in Baltimore, that are in, California, that are in D.C. They're all over now. And they're some of them living pretty lavish lives. Like, I would like to know how to live that way.
So you said people come up and they're moving to Canada? They're emigrating to Canada, essentially?
Oh, yeah. And then some people are coming the other way. Because if you're Mexican, for example, and you cross the southern border into the U.S., you're going to be immediately expelled under Title 42, which is like the COVID policy Trump put in place. If you fly to Canada, all you need is an electronic travel authorization, not a visa. So it's way easier. You pay like $5 US, basically. You fly there. You take a taxi right to the border, and then you're good. You just cross.
So they fly into the United States from Mexico, and then they drive across to Canada?
They fly into Canada, and then they cross.
Oh, my gosh.
They cross south.
And the border guards are just like, wait,
Catch and release.
stop. No. And then they just
Wait,
walk in.
stop, don't.
Like, they're like, hey,
No,
it's
they've already
illegal. And then
crossed. Yeah. Well, you can't tell people once they've crossed to go back. Like they're already in the U.S. at that point. And so they cross and then they're taken into Border Patrol custody. A lot of them aren't. It's, you hear a lot about gotaways, people that evade Border Patrol. Whoa. They're evading up there way more than they're actually being encountered because there's no wall. There's no line of Border Patrol agents. It's the longest shared border in the world. So
I was thinking as an aside about yesterday we were talking about the French or the German blitzkrieg into France during World War II, and France had this giant wall across the border, the German border, called the Maginot Line. They were like, there's no way the Germans can get through. The Germans just went through Belgium. So like the Chinese could just go through Canada. There's no border defense up there.
They'll always find a way. You find vessels coming through San Diego. You find them coming through the coastal border in Florida now a lot more. And they're coming from all over the world there too. So they're finding any way they can. And it's pretty open in all of those places.
Essentially, the biggest driver still is policy, though. The biggest driver of people coming to the U.S. is U.S. policy on people that overstay their visas, and policy about if you get here and claim asylum. Which, I mean, most of the people that come at least from the South, if I understand correctly, claiming asylum is like kind of ridiculous because they're supposed to claim at the first.
There's so many people
country.
who do that fraudulently. So, for example, Todd Bensman, he's a researcher for the Center of Immigration Studies. He went to the highlands in Guatemala, and he found that all of these people had sent their children over to the U.S. illegally. They had come here, they had earned money, and then they sent that money back so their families could make mansions in Guatemala. And then they would come back after. A lot of that happens. Like, I'll talk to the migrants when they get here, when they cross, and you hear, oh, we're coming for work. We're coming for work. Well, when Border Patrol shows up, the story completely changes, right? And of course, like, not to discount, the horrific tragedy of, poverty in the countries they're coming from. But when you talk about U.S. policy, for example, okay, the Biden administration says they're trying to solve the root causes of immigration. Well, these people say, absolutely not. That's not happening.
Who's these people are saying?
Well, all these
people, who are you talking about?
All these migrants who are saying that. I've talked to them. I've asked them. Like when I was in Guatemala, after they had crossed from Honduras, I was like, well, the U.S. and specifically the Vice President of the United States says they're solving these issues in your country. Do you believe that's true? And they said flat out no.
I had a friend in L.A. I worked at a restaurant that there was a lot of illegal immigrants working at the restaurant in the kitchen getting paid with cash. And he was a really good friend of mine. He was like, man, I just sent so much money to my family in Mexico. They're so rich right now. I just keep sending them. U.S. dollars are worth so much in my hometown. And then he eventually just pieced out. Untaxed, none of those taxed.
They don't care about what's going on in their home country. They want to come here. It's better. There's that viral interview that Vox did. I think it was Vox, where they asked one of the migrants coming in the caravan, why are you coming? And he said, I miss Buffalo Wild Wings. It's like, yeah, Mexico City has Buffalo Wild Wings too, and I've been there, and it's pretty legit. But they're just making up excuses. One guy was like, I miss my PlayStation. And it's like, how do you already have a PlayStation 4 up in America when you're not an American citizen? And they're like, I was here, I got deported.
Well, yeah, and you know what I actually heard about some of the migrants that didn't plan to go to Canada but ended up going when I was there? They were like, there's racism in America. So now, that's a new thing I'm hearing, that, that and maybe they're being slighted at work because they're working under the table. But that was another thing that I heard, that one, there's racism, and then two, the threats that they had in their home countries that they escaped. Like this woman I met from Venezuela, her toxic, abusive ex-partner followed her into the U.S. and abused her here. So
she went to Canada.
She had to escape. She was claiming asylum, I guess, from the U.S., right?
Whoa. But they're illegally going to Canada as well. Like if they get caught in Canada, they just get sent back to the home country, or do they get sent back to the U.S.?
No, they'll be processed as asylum there, or refugee status. And the weird thing too is that they bring all their bags with them. In the U.S., if you cross the border illegally, they give you a Ziploc bag, you dump everything else right at the border. There, they're bringing duffel bags and suitcases, and I don't know if it was real or not, but there was like a Louis Vuitton logo going on.
Does Canada have an open immigration policy where they want that?
Oh yeah, Justin Trudeau has absolutely like put out an open call for more migrant workers. They don't have like the labor force to sustain how many jobs are open right now in that country. And now the U.S., because of that, I think is becoming a transit zone, is becoming what Mexico is right now. And Mexico's pissed off at us right now.
Why does Canada, does the policy that Canada has have anything to do with why Mexico's pissed off at us? Is that what you were alluding to? Or
No. I'm saying that the fact that, the U.S. policies opening the border for migrants coming here through Mexico, for example, right now you have a ton of migrants that are waiting in these shelters in Mexico that are overflowing, people sleeping on the streets. The Mexican authorities are really unhappy by that, right? It's not good for their communities. So are we going to become that? And maybe that's what New York City has become because Eric Adams wants them out, right?
You think that there's any ethical value to deporting people to Canada that come from Mexico that get caught illegally?
You
send
have
them
to have
Canada?
Canada's cooperation with that.
Yeah.
I mean, or you could just
But
get them a one-way trip to the Yukon.
There's a lot of woods out there, man.
like a
Just,
treaty, a deportation treaty with Canada. Because, if they need immigration and we don't, and they're coming here, it kind of strips the humanity of the individual at what they want. But
What we obviously should do is paint a road on the side of a mountain that isn't real, so they all come and then they stop and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, there's no actual path here, and they get confused, and that's how you keep them out, like Bugs Bunny.
I mean, nothing keeps them out. It's really crazy because even the elements, right? It's snowy up there. You don't know where you're going in some places. There's not like landmarks. You find like not only just footprints from shoes, but you find bare feet footprints, right? Like people crossing in the snow, totally unprepared for the situation. It's really weird. It's really eerie.
You spend more time at the southern or the northern border?
Southern, yeah.
How many people were you like watching people come across?
Oh yeah, I watch people come across. I meet with local law enforcement. I watch people cross onto rancher properties. And then I actually spent time in Guatemala. I went into a detention center and I met with migrants that they had detained from all over the world that were bound for the U.S. So like I met 16 Afghans there. They're actually all now in the U.S. So even the policies down there to detain and send them back south to Honduras aren't working, right? People just come right back up.
I think I would have been one of those people that just illegally went to the United States because it's the best. I don't care about the law. Like in that case, I'm like, you know what? We laud people that came over illegally 100 years ago and they had kids and made a bunch of money and created businesses. It's like we were an illegal upstart country. That was
100 years ago. They weren't illegal though.
Well, I mean,
100
not
years ago,
documented.
100 years ago was prior to the New Deal. The reason we have issues with immigration is not particularly with the people coming to the United States. That has been a normal thing for the entirety of the United States history. People come to the U.S. The problem that we have, the reason that we have problems with immigration is the social services that we provide to our population and what the Democrats have started to provide to non-citizens. There are places where non-citizens are now now voting, etc. When you do that, you dilute the political power of the actual citizens, the people that are there, the people that pay taxes. You dilute their political power, and if it's illegal, you're doing their political power is being diluted without their input. Right? Like if you have a government that's not taking care of the border and stopping illegal immigration, that means that the population's political power is being diluted and the government is not doing anything about it. So the people that pay taxes to the government, supposedly, ostensibly to keep the government working and to pay the politicians, they're having their power taken away by politicians who refuse to enforce the laws.
Let's talk about what's going on with the laws. Got this tweet from Kyung La of CNN. Got robbed again. Jason Casey and I were at City Hall in San Francisco to do an interview for CNN. We had security to watch our rental car. Thieves did this under 4 seconds. Security stopped the jerks from stealing other bags, but seriously, this is ridiculous. Thanks, CNN. I suppose when it starts happening to them, all of a sudden, now it's newsworthy.
Now it's a problem.
Just talking about that happened to me the first day I went to San Francisco. Parked the car, went in to look at an apartment, came out. That's what I looked at. That's what I saw.
Because
the side window for my car.
crime is legal there. It is allowed.
Well, and
It
they're
was always
trying to
allowed.
make it no longer a sanctuary city because now they're finally realizing, right?
They're
a lot of-
realizing, silly woman, you knew damn well I was a snake before you looked at me.
You got to play that.
Shut up.
That clown world thing.
That
Silly
shut up,
woman.
That shut up, silly woman.
Yeah.
Michael Malice uses it all the time. It's one of my favorites. Oh god, shut up, silly woman.
There's a Clown World Twitter page that I go to or I see from time
Dude,
to time.
Clown World's blowing up on
Yeah,
Twitter.
great.
7 hours
Good.
ago.
It's like libs of TikTok for other issues.
And it's great because they show the clowniness all in one, usually all in one image. You don't have to search for it. And 7 hours ago, they posted about a tweet from Hillary Ronan, I guess a while ago, was this August of 2020, where she said, I want to make it clear that I believe strongly in defunding the police and reducing the number of officers on our force.
Yeah, that's good.
For decades.
Yeah, we got it right here. Look at
yeah.
this.
For
How it
decades.
started, how it's going. And she's like, defund the police. And the next one, she's like, we don't have enough police
We've
officers.
been begging for more foot feets and for
Oh,
more.
shut up, lady.
Foot
These
feets.
people are evil.
They've been begging for more foot feets.
Defund
You understand?
the police,
She doesn't even
but
know what
not
she's
like
saying.
that.
She's in a panic state because of her idiot policy.
I've got a compromise. Defund the state.
I mean, you
Well,
know,
that includes the police, but we get to get rid of these people too.
I am
This lady is
romantic for
fired.
anarchism.
But you like police. You appreciate police.
I'm romantic. I consider myself romantic for anarchism because I like the idea. I think that if anarchism was possible, I think that it would be. Well, I'm not. I don't know that I'm
don't think
convinced
it's possible.
Yeah. I think that the foundational government that we had like when we started was probably the most libertarian government or libertarian society ever that has existed. And so I'm, for practical purposes, if someone calls me a constitutionalist, I'm not going to argue because I think that the powers given to the government outlined in the Constitution were okay, but the Constitution was insufficient to actually restrain the government, obviously, because we have the largest government in human history. So, but I'm romantic for anarchism because I love the idea. I just don't think that it actually pans out.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be black and white. Like, rarely is it ever with social philosophy. It's a little bit of anarchism here, a little bit of socialism there, and you create a society that's like an amalgam.
Yeah, and part of the reason why I don't call myself a pure anarchist is because I know that it's just begging for people on Twitter to give me help.
Who will build the roads?
Especially
Phil?
deep-
Yeah, I
Who's
know.
gonna
dude.
build the roads?
Fuck the roads. I hate them. I just
My
want them all.
favorite, my
I
favorite
want them all.
response is there were roads before there was a government.
Yeah.
We could build roads that last 150 years, and then we wouldn't have to fund them anymore.
Why would we build roads? If we get rid of the government, the first thing that's going away is the roads.
I know.
done.
Yeah, roads are actually
Outta here.
the problem.
That's
Off-road.
If there were
that's
no
your-
roads, there'd be no crime. You know
right.
why? Because criminals couldn't get anywhere.
That's right. You can't steal when you can't get away.
You see? That proves it. And everyone has to ride horses.
Through the woods.
I mean, wherever.
Man, could you imagine life without roads? Back
I'm
in the
watching,
day, drive through the
Libertarians
hills,
do it
you're
all
like,
the time.
What?
There's that scene in 1923 where Harrison Ford, him and the crew, they ride up on horses into the city, and then he looks around. He's like, "Where's the hitching post?" And they're like, "We took it out for more parking spaces." And he's like, "What?" Like they tie the horses to a tree. Yeah, because they used to have hitching posts because everybody would ride a horse.
to town.
Yeah, now it's cars.
Now it's cars.
Das Auto. Yeah, man. The future's gonna be wild.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that today. So okay, look at this ChatGPT crap. Stuff is happening so fast right now. You can type in with this, what is it, GPT-4, I think? Or there's like Mid-Journey. There's all these like
Yeah,
visual
Midjourney's
creation stuff. Dude,
crazy,
and it
man.
looks photorealistic
Yep.
at times. It can show you like a woman go from age 8 to age 80 in like a transitional state of just like, you just type it in.
And
it does it.
imagine we're only a few years out to full automation of animation. Meaning, if they can make photorealistic people, we are a few years away from typing in animate Ian Crossland explaining graphene, and it will render you, Ian, and you'll be like, let me explain graphene to you. And it will get the script from the internet, it will transcribe everything you've ever said, and it will create you. And you will wake up one day seeing a viral video of yourself explaining graphene. It'll be at the UN, you'll be like, that's not me. That's not me. And you'll like run in your bathrobe, and they'll be like, get this crazy guy here. No, look. And they'll be like, get out of here, you crazy old man. And they're going to hit you.
I'll be like, it wasn't me. And they'll be like, what is he even talking? It'll be like 80 years later, and I'll still be screaming, it wasn't me.
Indistinguishable videos of Donald Trump declaring himself the Antichrist or something.
I'm having a hard time
Dude,
visualizing.
2024 is going to be, people don't understand. 2020, so look, we're in 1 year, we will be entering like primary season. And look at what they've already been able to do with photorealistic AI. They are going to make videos of Trump. There's already an account doing this. It's not that good. It's like a parody account about James O'Keefe, and they're making fake James O'Keefe videos, and people are falling for it. And it's like, we got to get flags on these to say it's a deep fake. But what happens when they make an extremely realistic video of Trump that's not that crazy, but still hurts him? Donald Trump saying something like, look, we're going to have to raise taxes. It's the only path forward. I know it's going to hurt a lot of people. It'll be small, but trust me, the tax increase will be worth it to help the economy. And then people are going to be like, what? He wants to raise taxes? And they'll believe it.
It's not going to be one-sided, though. You're going to see
I know.
There's going to be those going for everybody that's running for any kind of position.
And show hosts.
Yeah.
Yep.
was
You're
thinking, cool.
you're gonna book a show.
Sick.
And they're gonna be like, Phil Labonte is on that far right show.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna send a video of you saying something to the show, the venue, and they're gonna be like, look, man, I don't know what this is about or what you believe, but we can't have that here. And you're like, dude, it's not real. And they're like, I don't know, man.
I was thinking about this term deep fake. It's still real. It's just a fake version of it. And then like what's coming next? Deep reality, where you like can think in your mind, I'm in a forest, and then the forest appears.
Neuralink.
Yeah. Deep reality. People will be in deep reality.
I think the moment they get Neuralink combined with this AI tech, 80% of humans leave. As much as anybody would say otherwise. 80% leave.
There's a lot of people that
Because
would
you're
check out.
like, think about it this way. It's not even political. 45-year-old guy. He's a widower. His wife died 10 years ago. And he's depressed all day. He's gained a lot of weight. And they come to him and they say, you plug in, you'll be 35 again, physically fit with your wife. Everything, all of her memories, everything she's ever posted will be recreated as an AI. And you'll know, but you will get to experience time with her. And he'll be like, oh God, please, please. Or someone's kid dies. They will plug in 2 seconds. They will never give it up. People are like, we're going to ask people, you have to grieve, you have to move on. Anybody who lost a loved one is going to be like, nope. And they're going to plug right in to go hang out with that person they lost.
A lot of them, yeah, for sure. It's sad, but it's real problem.
Religious people probably won't. Conservatives are less likely to do it. But then you're going to have, overweight neckbeard types living in cities who don't care for politics, who are dejected and angry, and they're going to plug in and be famous podcast hosts in their fake reality where, for some reason, they have this big company with a lot of viewers. They'll call it like Jimcast or something.
It's already like that because people do that now. They go to work or whatever, or they do their job. If they, sometimes they'll telecommute or whatever, they get done, they jump right on their favorite video game or whatever, and they live in this fake world, whatever. They have their food delivered. I mean, the pod, as much as there's a lot of people that say, the pod's not for me and I'm not going to get in the pod and blah, 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 blah. There's so many people
because
that will get in the pod.
It's not just about the things I described. It's also about the internet. It's about you living in New York and having friends from California and then being like, hey, bro, you want to go to the card club and play some cards? They'd be like, yeah, let me plug in. Then you plug in and all of a sudden you and all your friends are standing right there in front of the digital card club and you feel physically there with your friends.
Dude, you'll be let's go to Vegas. And then you just are in Vegas.
You'll go to eVegas. And it'll be a complete recreation of Las Vegas that you plug in Neuralink to experience.
And when you spend money in eVegas, a portion of that goes to the Vegas city. And they'll be happy to Caesars, for instance, will run and operate digital Caesars. Yeah, gambling in the metaverse.
And this is coming without question. This is all going to be coming, and it fits right in with the whole lowering carbon output. Why would you go to real Vegas when you could just go to eVegas?
So why would you post on Instagram in your outfits?
Yep, and there's going to be things greater than eVegas. There's going to be Mecca Vegas, which is going to be 10 times bigger. It's going to be a crisp 69 degrees forever, all year round when you go in. There will be night, there will be day, there will be sunshine, there will be rain, but it'll always be 69, and there will be 70 casinos. And then there'll be instances. You'll be like, guys, instant 3A is too crowded. Let's go to instance 3-4. And then you'll transfer to an identical replica of it where there's less people, a different server. The server's crowded. Let's go to a different one.
What if you could post your visualizations on Instagram as if they were pictures?
Yep.
But they were just
100%. That's absolutely coming. It'll not only that, it'll be an NFT.
Who wouldn't want to have all of their dreams come true and every fantasy and every desire?
Yeah, I've wanted to
plug in 2 seconds.
I would love to be able to show people my dreams. That comes up a lot. I'm like, God, I wish I could show them what I was seeing. I can't explain it with words.
For all you know, Ian, you're actually this tech billionaire, and you were like, for 30 years, you were the richest guy in the world, like Elon, and you were just like, I don't find life fulfilling because I'm on the top. So you plug in and create an AI reality where you're like moderately successful, but you have some humility. Some people like you, some people you don't, so you can get a more fulfilling experience from life. And then one day when you die, you'll wake up and you're like Elon, the equivalent of Elon in base reality, like, well, that was fun. Back to work.
Run the
running
military
Facebook.
industrial
Yep.
simulation again. All right, let's go back in.
Yep.
I'm zero again. Let's do this.
I think war would probably end.
The only problem with rebirth, like reincarnation, is childhood was really boring.
War would probably end within a few decades, because there will be areas of the world that have no access to this technology. But if you look at smartphones have become so dramatically cheap, a couple bucks, and you can get an old school like a smartphone with touch capability and internet. They will get this Neuralink stuff to as many people as possible.
Are you into it?
Am I into it? No, absolutely not.
What do you think about Neuralink?
Well, if I compare it to what's happening with me, other girls my age, TikTok, whatever, I'm like, that's going a step even further. What is that going to do?
People
to
are going to
us
go insane
psychologically,
Well,
right?
I mean, think about it this way. There's going to be some mediocre guy who creates his own universe, because that's where we're at. You're going to go to the AI and be like, give me a universe where I'm a famous podcast host and very successful, and we'll call it Timcast or something. They'll go in, and in this reality, they're confident. Everybody is like, your show's so good, you're so successful, and they're going to feel real good about themselves. And then when they leave the base reality, they're going to have all that ripped away from them and be very, very depressed and be like, I'm a loser.
Dude, you even refer to it as base reality when they leave.
I know.
Like that becomes the base reality for them. And then this is like the augment. Like,
Why would-
painful reality? I don't want that
Why would anyone want to be a loser?
Dang. Because it builds character.
Yeah.
Losing and failing makes you a stronger, more resilient person. It's a part of the game, I think. But it
Phil's
doesn't
going to
feel
wake
good.
up one day and he's going to be like, he's going to be working at a record store. And then he's going to be like, dude, that was an awesome simulation. What did you do? I was a famous rock star. Awesome.
I was the
Wow,
lead
for
singer
real.
of All That Remains in my fantasy. It holds it up and it's like,
No,
Anthony Fauci's the
it'll
lead
be
singer.
like an MMORPG, right? And then, when Phil logs out, he's just some like guy who works at a record store. But people are gonna be like, dude, is Phil Labonte your character? And you're like, yeah, I'm Phil Labonte. Dude, I love your music, man. You'd be like, yeah, we worked really hard on it in Meta World. And they'd be like, oh, dude, I'm a big fan.
I
What are you
agree.
doing working here? It's like, well, you don't make a lot of money doing that.
I do agree with you guys that it's going to make people insane. It will. Some people for sure, at the very least, some people. But it seems like the evolution of smartphones, of internet video, like I don't see, it just seems natural and that people are afraid of it at this point. But I mean, if the code's open and you're able to watch it, it's manipulating you.
Because the problem isn't going to be the code. The problem is going to be the way that people respond to their family members that have passed away. How you psychologically respond. Like it brings up the same problems that the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or whatever.
Yeah.
It brings up those kind of problems. Like human beings have the way that we deal with our own lives, our own mortality, the mortality of others, that has evolved with us over millions of years technically, but we've been humans for 200 or 300,000 years or whatever. We've been Homo sapiens, and the way that we deal with these things has evolved with us. And so there are the correct ways to deal with the natural process of life, the grieving of losing friends and family, the grieving of your own, dealing with your own mortality and stuff. And if you have a computer that interrupts natural grieving processes and stunts that, you don't know what that's going to do to people, especially if you have say 20% of the people out there are emotionally stunted because they didn't deal with the passing of a family member, and so then they have significant emotional problems. You got a massive portion of your population that's just essentially on a hair trigger or whatever, because of the way that we're allowing people, or because of the way that people are choosing to deal with grief by making believe that people haven't died and stuff. It just seems so
It's like that
fraught with danger to me.
What's that show, Upload or something?
Yeah.
I haven't
The
seen
guy
that.
dies and they upload his consciousness to a computer, and then you can go to the digital world, or there's like digital screens where you can stand next to them and they'll talk to you.
One of the values of watching people that have passed is like watching old documentaries of John Lennon. For me, like watching Dick Cavett, the show. He would have the greatest artists of the time. I love you, Dick.
But those aren't people in your life,
Right.
that-
And it's
that-
not artificially generated. It's a recording of a real thing that happened. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine.
So it's not the same as like a computer generating what they think my mom would have said or something like that. But I'm learning so much about myself by watching old video of people and listening to old music from people that are dead. if an AI predicts what they think they would have said for me later, I don't know if that's a bad thing or if it's like hyper evolution.
They're going to have so much data on every tweet you've ever posted, every Facebook post you've ever made, every article you've ever written, every video you've ever made. Hands down, the past couple years or year and a half or whatever with you and me on the show, they have more than enough data on our speech patterns and our worldviews to craft AI replicas of us. In fact, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell people this, but we're not actually real. We are, in fact, AI deepfakes that have been automated. Timothy and have been captured by the CIA.
You
stop Trump.
Yeah, you were not supposed to tell people.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes the AI becomes sentient and goes rogue.
And it's okay to have multiple AIs.
Phil's actually not a musician. He's our lead programmer.
Yeah.
How would you know? How would you know, man? Isn't that crazy? Like, there are people who accuse us of pre-recording the show.
Yeah.
They'll be like, there's no way this is live. It's like, we read your super chats, dude. Like, we read them in real time. But people don't believe it.
The other night I said that we need a new type of like way to look at religion instead of monotheism or polytheism, fractal theism, in that God is both one thing and many things at once. It's like the human body. You're talking about being an AI. Like the human body, we think I am Ian. I am one. This is me. But I'm really trillions of organisms that are each one. And they all make up this one. So I think God is similar. Whether or not I'm an AI because of that, it's like, am I making these decisions, or are these microorganisms the ones that are in control?
Have you ever read about near-death experiences?
A little bit.
I read this book, and they said they interviewed a bunch of people who died and then came back. And they almost all of them, because some people have weird stories, but most of them had the story of feeling like there was a bright, warm light in front of them, and they were a ball of light that was moving towards a larger ball of light, becoming one with like the eternal or something like that. And it felt good and felt warm. That's crazy, man.
The sun, maybe galactic core,
and everybody like is a piece of it. We are all stored energy from the sun. The sun blasts energy; it hits the earth. Then that energy has a chemical reaction, which converts into various things, either through heat or through organisms. That energy, like the plants absorb sunlight. The animals consume the plants. We consume the animals and the plants. It's all sunlight being stored on Earth.
Have you looked into remote viewing?
A little bit.
Dude, that's apparently
the man who
real.
stare at goats?
Yeah, the CIA is like funding this stuff because it's apparently real, where you can see you can visualize what's happening elsewhere, apparently. I don't know, but it's like
How does that work?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense logically. But
you can't. It's not real. I mean, when I was part of the CIA, I could only see the future 7 seconds out.
Okay.
Which is more so what we were working.
Good for sports, though.
Are we still live?
Yeah.
Good for sports, not really. 7 seconds.
Yeah.
It's good for some things, but like you can't even play roulette.
You know where he's going to throw the ball, though.
It's good to avoid car
true.
crashes.
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder what is perception.
Work.
I used to think perception was the way my brain interprets the impulses. But if you can have perception without your brain, or maybe your spirit is elsewhere.
I don't think that you can have perception without.
Okay, I got to read the super chat real quick. It's a little early, but Bobcat says the super chats you read are generated by AI. That's why you never read mine when I tell you to read The Last Circle or Small Wars Big Data. I've disproven your thesis.
Boom.
Science. Anyway, you were saying, Ian?
That like your perception is maybe your consciousness is like your spirit, this warm ball of light that's moving after people are experiencing, death, or is that it can travel and report back to your body data like impulses and stuff.
Someone asked in the chat if I'm drunk. No, I have food poisoning really bad. That's why I'm wearing a coat. I have a fever. People are like, is he dying? I'm like, yes, probably.
Slowly, over the course of 80 years.
I had some yogurt. That's all I ate today. Bad food poisoning. It's getting better. I'm drinking coconut water, but I had some ginger ale to try and help. But yeah.
Is that real? Does that work?
Definitely made me feel better.
Is it like, a carbonation?
I don't know. I just felt way better. Maybe it was fluids and sugar, and I hadn't eaten anything, and I was feeling really sick. And then it made my stomach not hurt, and then I started feeling like I had more energy. Because I almost was like, I don't think I can do the show, man. I'm sleeping. But had a ginger ale.
Yeah, when I feel
yogurt.
ill, rather than just wait it out and be like, well, I'll let this get out of me. It's better to repopulate the gut with good stuff.
That's right. That's why I had the yogurt, because you got to replace that stuff, and then you've got to cultivate the good bacteria by not eating heavy sugars and exercising. What is it called? The Spice or something? South Park did that episode where
Spice Melange?
Yeah, the Spice Melange.
That's from Dune, yes.
Well, they did the
Spice
episode where they
Melange.
wanted, was it Tom Brady's feces? Because if you got his fecal bacteria, it would make you strong and fit.
Fecal implants, man.
They do that.
That's a whole like scientific path. They take women or anyone that's having like horrible gut issues, and they take feces from a healthy person and put it up their butt, and the bacteria turns their gut healthy.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Son of a bitch.
What's going on?
I'm all
It's a
about it.
weird world. I don't know, man. I think Neuralink is gonna take over so rapidly. People don't understand. A lot of people are like, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, you say that, but if 20 years ago we were like, in 20 years you're gonna put a CIA tracking device in your pocket and you're gonna be happy to do it, they're gonna be like, no, I won't. You're crazy. And now everybody has one, and they're like, well, it's not so bad.
The level of convenience, like how convenient life becomes when you get Neuralink, is going to be a considerable factor in how many people actually get it. So if you get Neuralink and there's all kinds of stuff that your friends are telling you, oh, this is so cool and blah blah blah, that will be a significant motivator for people. If it's not functional and people are like, whatever, if that is how people first perceive it or receive it, then I don't see it taking off.
I want to just read this super chat from Noah Sanders. He says he was hyped to get a new beanie today, but he didn't get one. It's green. It's only green for today because it's St. Patrick's Day. And he says Discord is busted. It's not busted, but for some people there may be some issues. So I don't know if anybody who's working
I'm in
on
the
it.
Discord chat right now.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm
some-
in the VIP chat room. What's up, dudes?
Some people are having some issues, but if you want to join the chat, become a member, and hang out with us, I'm really excited for this. And I think it'll be a great resource for me, especially when I'm doing stories throughout the day. Like if someone's like, hey, look at this story, and I'm like, oh, that's actually really interesting. I could do a segment about it. So that'll be fun, hanging out in the VIP chat room.
What's your main reticence about Neuralink?
I think, honestly, it sounds really toxic, and it sounds like it's bound to become part of life if it really takes off, to where there's going to be societal pressure to use it, right? I just don't.
There will be no choice.
Yeah, it's it'll be the whole conversation.
You're gonna be at home, and they're gonna call you, like your boss, and he's gonna say, hey, we're having a meeting in the metaverse. You here yet? And you'll be like, I don't have a Neuralink. And be like, well, what do you mean you don't have a Neuralink? We're having a meeting in
People
in the
are
metaverse.
already doing meetings
Yeah,
in the
I know.
metaverse.
Yep. And then you'll be like, I never got to be like, well, it's a requirement for this job to be able to attend meetings, and if you can't, we're gonna have to let you go.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna be like, I can go get it tomorrow, and they'll be like, okay, well, please do.
Like not having a phone. Like
Right.
if you can't coordinate with
Yeah,
your
exactly.
boss.
What's your number? I don't have a cell phone. Well, how am I supposed to get in touch with you? You can't. Okay, I'm gonna hire somebody else. It's correct. That's what's gonna happen. People don't realize it. It's gonna overnight be ubiquitous.
There are people that won't. There are people that have to have the right kind of phone to work. Like there are people that you have to have an Apple to work with them because just because of iMessage.
Oh, it's the worst. Let's go to Super Chats. If you haven't already, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel because I want all of you to know that even when I am dying from food poisoning, I will be here to do the show because I'm a workaholic and have anxiety if I don't. And I'm sitting there in bed, covered in sweat, feverish, and just but then there's be no show today.
For
What am I
Jenny.
supposed to do?
For you.
Yeah.
I was like,
Jenny's
I feel
coming.
so bad. Oh my god.
But if you
would've
support
done
what we do, man. Well, yeah, I mean, whoever was here, I'm like,
yeah, I was thinking it's like
it's more so the people watching, just 30,000 people.
Because for me, it was like, oh, it's just another night. But for the guest, it's kind of a big deal to go be on a podcast that you've never been on before.
No, I'm honored. I'm honored.
Well, let's read some of these super
it.
chats. You guys want to read some? We got the monitor. You can read it as
Yeah,
as
Phil, you
suffer
want
here.
to snag it?
Let me see where I don't see
Here.
any of this. Where are they?
Here we go.
Seamus, I give you one potato.
Seamus. Seamus.
Seamus. Potatoes for Seamus. Seamus, I give you one potato. Happy Irish Awareness Day, Mr. Coughlin. More potatoes for you if my guy Tim reads this for you.
He called him Seamus Coughlin.
My bad.
Seamus is steaming right now.
I'm sorry, Seamus.
Seamus Coughlin. Coughlin.
I'm going to pull one up. I don't have access to that.
Where
I
is
can't read
Seamus
that.
at? Oh, yeah.
Let's see if I can find.
Mind of a Madman said, Chim Sham Seamus.
This is funny. Robert Bradbury said the Republican Party is now a two-headed hydra with DeSantis and Trump. They can't figure out which head to cut off.
Yeah, well, if
way
they
to
do,
look at
2
it.
more will come back. Christina H. says, potato lies matter. William Walker says, Tim, you need garlic for your food poisoning. Studies have shown it to be at least as beneficial as penicillin for food poisoning. Say, what? I love garlic. Maybe I just can't eat. I'll barf. I was able to eat some yogurt. Really helped. Yeah.
Man.
Stole Kara's yogurt.
Probiotics.
Went right to the fridge and I saw the C on it and I was like, it's mine now.
Garlic is 100 times stronger than antibiotics when it comes to killing bacteria that cause food poisoning, according to Washington State
Whoa.
University.
I should just put garlic on everything, man.
I wonder if it's raw.
I mean,
if it
garlic's
matters.
awesome.
I will swallow 2 cloves of garlic right now like pills.
It's the diallyl sulfide, apparently.
Wow.
It's a lot better than prescriptions, typically. But this is according to one.
Maybe
at least
I'll
one
maybe
research.
I've got so much garlic at home because I just chug garlic. maybe I'll just take a spoonful with the medicine.
Oh, this says eating garlic after contracting it probably won't do much good. But if you're stocked up on the dialylsulfide, that maybe it'll protect you. So I don't know. Maybe it's more of a preventative.
I'm feeling mostly better. Like I was barfing, and like the past few hours, I just feel like tired and cold. So I've been drinking coconut water, coming back.
Vitamin C. See it
Yeah.
up.
Just keep a lot
Taking
of
vitamins.
You need to make sure that you keep drinking water too.
I think coconut water is better.
Well, something for fluids.
Oh yeah, I'm drinking that too right now. It's so good.
I'm not particular to what kind of fluids. you take.
Coffee, coconut water. What a combo. A little peanut butter powder. Oh my God. It's the sweetness
Peanut
you
butter
need.
powder and coffee is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Pasobic turned me onto it.
Hell yeah.
So like PB.
That powder stuff.
I'll show you. I have some
No.
downstairs. It's fantastic.
Like adds a creaminess to it. It's good. Yeah, and I like peanuts, so.
Let's grab another super chat.
Big says, Kafifi was a bad translation of an Arabic expression for endurance. In spite of all the negative press, we will endure. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that's true.
That it was.
It said, despite all the negative press, Kafifi. And I think what they were trying to write was press coverage. And like, if you believe that it was a
that's how I thought he was talking about coffee.
Look it up.
No.
It said like,
unlikely that it was
despite
about
the negative press, Kafifi. And that's all it said, something like that. And like, it's clear they were trying to write press coverage. And then
Okay.
someone sausage fingered the phone, pressed send, and went, whoops. Is it, what did it say? Did you find it?
6 minutes after midnight on May 31st, 2017, Trump tweeted, despite the constant negative press, Kofifi coverage. That makes
And
a
so
lot of sense.
people were saying that Kafifi meant I will stand. And so he was saying, despite the negative press, I will stand. And it's like, dude, no. That's not what it was.
I love that tweet.
Sorry. Oh, man. I got
He deleted the tweet 6 hours later.
Yep.
Ag.
And it became the
implied it
biggest
was
story.
intentional.
And it became the biggest story.
That's
true.
I love it, man. I'm really excited for like the normal Trump campaign stuff. I'm really not excited for the weird stuff that's going to happen. Deep fakes and fighting.
I'm extremely interested to find out what kind of impact deep fakes have, if there's going to be stuff that actually moves the needle, like where people get, fooled into something and it actually has an impact on like polling and stuff like that. I'm extremely interested to see that.
Yeah, that Mark Twain quote that it's easier to fool people than to convince them that they've been fooled.
No.
Yeah.
That's
All right. Joe Biden says Discord has devolved into nothing but dad jokes. Start over. Well, maybe you got to go to the elite club.
hey.
The elite VIP golden club or whatever it's called. I'll be in there shortly too. We just got it set up last night and I haven't had time because I woke up dying. And I was like, we'll have it set up by tonight. And then I woke up dying. And I was like, yeah. And we still did the Culture War podcast with Sovereign Bra and Mary Morgan. It was really fun. And I was drinking coffee. And then as soon as we wrapped, I was going to faint. I was dizzy. I was like, oh man, this is bad. And I went to sleep. I just went to sleep. Woke up at like 6. Probably just go to bed after this.
Yeah.
Ruined my weekend. I went to Outback Steakhouse last night. And now I'm sick. What's going on, Outback? That was the only place I ate at.
Did you go out? You didn't go after the show. You went before the
show.
right?
The movie theater was shut down.
Oh, why?
We went to go see Shazam, and the power was out in the theater.
Oh.
So they evacuated everybody. Oh. And then I was like, let's go eat. And we were looking on the map. It's like, oh, there's an Outback over here. And we're like, all right, Outback is good. And I got to admit, it was delicious. But if I could take it back, I would. Because it sucks. But the food was really good. Had chicken tenders and three cheese steak dip, bloomin' onion. And you know what the crazy thing is? I had this like feeling in my mind. I'm like, I'm going to get sick from eating this.
Oh, you knew.
I just had, but it was like a gut feeling.
Literally.
Oh boy.
Right. Dad joke,
Wow.
But
yeah,
I was
you
like,
know, man.
it'll be fine. Like, what'll probably happen is I'll feel sick at night, go to sleep, wake up fine. And then I woke up like head throbbing, took full on food poisoning.
Nuts. Oh, we got Surge.com in the chat.
What's he doing?
Posting a bunch of pictures of me.
All right. What do we got? Raymond G. Stanley Jr. says, OMG, my favorite graphene semantic loving authoritarian pirate has his own emoji. Thank you, Lord. Never fight an alligator underwater.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I thought he was talking about Phil for a second.
All right. What do we got? Mads Axton says, service guarantees citizenship. Civilians live peacefully but have limited rights. Citizens get to vote and hold political positions. Agreed. Agreed.
This is a tough conundrum because they really did. Landowners were the voters because they were the only ones that had the skin in the game, like Phil said earlier.
And it was the only way to identify someone as actually being a part of the community.
Yeah, and they care about their community because they're rooted And that's very important when you're deciding how the community functions. If you're just passing through and you get a chance to change things, that's kind of crazy.
But the issue with service guaranteed citizenship is, what if leftists get control of the service? You know, what if they start purging their ideological enemies, and then you say something like, I would like to serve, and they'll go, well, looks here like, I'm sorry, you're disqualified for this reason. And everyone says, no, in Starship Troopers, anyone was allowed. I'm like, I'm saying they'll make up excuses to excise you so that they only have their crackpot communists with the ability to vote.
To be fair, that is the goal in my. It seems that is the goal of the left generally.
Yeah. All right. Leave Me Alone says, a button gives you $1 million per press, but a random person dies. Would you press it? Which politician do you think have effectively pressed it? Trump, Biden? I would not press it.
Yeah, I'm not into that right now.
Bill Gates probably pressed it a lot. He's just sitting there being like, this is working. My bank account's going up. He's like, it's also solving other problems for me.
I got to hear one from floating.
I don't think anybody in this room would press the button, because we have like healthy and fulfilling lives. You know what I mean? Like $1 million isn't going to, like, I'll put it this way. $1 million may make the average person's life substantially better. All their costs are covered. But like ripping your soul in half, it's something you can never come back from. I don't think people would do it. I think a lot of liberal types would do it. They'd be like, I don't care. It's one person. Who cares?
If it's a random person, it might end up being you or your friend or something.
Yeah, and they'll be like, right, that's the Twilight Zone. You press the button and then your brother goes and dies. You go, no. I think that's actually a Twilight Zone. Or no. Yeah, the monkey's paw thing, where the dude's like, I wish I had $1 million. And then gets a phone call. The monkey's finger goes down. He gets a phone call. It's like, your father died. He's left you everything. He's like, no. You know, it wasn't worth it.
Yep.
Got you the $1 million though, man.
I got here one from Fleeting Floating Feathers. Tim, you need to watch Obama's address to the UK Parliament from 2011, where he says China will be the ruling power of the world and that the USA will decline and have to get used to them being so.
Wow.
That's the first I've heard of that.
They'll start buying your yuan now. Invest early. You know,
start buying Chinese farmland.
Yeah. Start buying Chinese farmland.
Yeah, but Trump said, I do got to say that I am very disappointed about the fake news headline. I thought that Shimcast was going to be real again, but you give me my favorite legume instead. Is sweet potato a legume?
I don't think so.
Seamus will be back.
It's a, what you call it? It's
like a starchy vegetable, right?
Yeah, I forgot what's the word. I'm too sick for this, man.
What are legumes anywhere? Are they beans?
Yeah, they're like beans.
Any plant from a
fabaceae. It's what's the word? A tuber.
A tuber.
A tuber.
Yes.
Yeah, root vegetable.
And
tuber.
The leaves, stems, and pods are the.
It's actually, I
legumes.
think, the funniest thing that it's a sweet potato too, because like we couldn't even respect Seamus enough to get a regular potato. That's all we got. We were actually looking for a puppet leprechaun. We couldn't find one.
So we ended up with a yam.
It was all Easter decorations. It's not Easter.
It's St. Patty's Day. What's going on? You know, there's got to be a leprechaun somewhere. But if we got one, I was going to do an Irish Seamus thing. Like, thanks for having me on the show, everybody.
Like a puppet.
Yeah, like with a puppet. But, you know, we got a potato instead, so.
Oh, Yuki Yusui asks, if I want to write for Timcast free, what do I do?
I don't think we can legally take free writers. I don't think we can. There's liability issues stuff. Mm-hmm. I think the insurance would be like, you like lose your insurance or something.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the super chats I've got access to are the recent ones. If there's any older ones that you see, crack one out of the park.
Whoa. Amos Moses says, y'all should check out Brandon Herrera's video on the 50 BMG pistol. Oh, man. I got to look at that.
Brandon's great. We should get Lucas Botkin from T-Rex Arms to come on. He just was on Tucker Carlson Today, the daytime show. And he's only from Tennessee.
Oh my God, 50 BMG pistol from 2 days ago.
Is that the AK-50? No, that's older.
No, I don't think he's actually achieved the AK-50 yet. I think that's still a meme.
AK-50.
I think it's still a meme because Brandon's the AK guy and
AK-50.
So if anyone out there knows if he's achieved the AK-50 dream
how do you
gun,
shoot a 50 BMG pistol? I'm watching the video right now. It's a breech loader. It looks like.
I'm sure it's miserable to shoot. I shot a breech loading 5.56 and it sucks to shoot. Like
it's a pistol. How's he gonna do this? This is amazing.
Hurt. What is it about the breech load that makes it harder to shoot?
So the breech load is just a barrel. You put the bullet in and then close it. So
All
there's
the recoil.
There's nothing reciprocates. You get all the recoil right into your arm.
So with like my Barrett, it's semi-automatic. A portion of the energy pulls it pulls the mechanism, the hammer back or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a gun guy. To reload the next round. So it's a spring-loaded thing that absorbs a ton of the energy and then pushes. The next
that's
round.
awesome.
There's a spring.
That's how rifles work.
There's a spring in the
Gas-powered.
what they call the buffer tube. There's a spring and there's a what they call a buffer. It's basically a small weight inside the tube. When the gun goes off, the bolt carrier group slides back, pulling the round from the spent cartridge from the chamber.
But what pulls it back is the gas
Yeah.
from the explosion of the round.
Wow.
So as the bullet's leaving, there's there's pressure, and there's a tube that the pressure pushes it, shoving
That's
it back.
extra P. This is why humans are so brilliant, is using waste energy to propel.
And then here's the best part. If you have, what is it called, like a muzzle brake, it has slanted like vents on the front. So when it fires, the gas coming out pushes the gun forward, also reducing recoil.
And you can get a bunch
crazy.
of different things. You can get a bunch of different things on for your what they call the muzzle device is what he's talking about. You can get a muzzle brake, which vents the gas straight out. That's so that way your muzzle stays flat. You can get what they call a bird cage, which is designed to keep the fiery blast to a minimum. A muzzle brake, it looks like a dragon shooting fire everywhere.
Yeah.
With a bird cage, it keeps
it like redirects the energy.
Yep.
So that normally when you fire a rifle, the energy is going forward and backwards. With the muzzle brake, the energy going out then goes to the side, so it removes some of the energy the recoil coming back at you.
Do the bullets hit harder with a muzzle brake?
No, the bullets will hit harder with a longer barrel.
Yeah,
because
more
they're
pressure.
spinning more accurately.
No, because you have the bullet going down the barrel. There's resistance because the bullet is actually just a little tiny.
There's a diminishing return on the length of the barrel.
Yeah, so the long, but with like a 5.56, you want to have a round. It was designed for a 20-inch barrel. So the gas is burning the entire time that the round is going down the barrel. The gas is still burning. So the shorter the barrel, the less time that the powder has to burn. So
And the heat propulsion is lost to the air instead of
it's
propulsion.
not so much the heat; it's pressure that you're worried about.
So when we fired, I think it was called like an RN52 or something, breech loading 50 BMG. I was the only one who didn't do it because everybody was getting knocked back, and I'm like, I'm not here for that, you know. But when we got the Barrett, I fired the Barrett because the semi-automatic, the spring system, it was nothing. Like firing a 50 BMG Barrett semi-auto felt nothing. Like I feel like a 12 gauge hurts more. Yeah, 12 gauge pump action is a lot of recoil right into your shoulder. So people that we have shoulder pads for the shotgun. Yeah, with the 50 BMG, we just just fired
big spring. It's a big spring in that gun.
And
I
you
feel
got
like I need that. As a tiny woman, I like fall backwards.
well, it's for hunting helicopters.
Yeah, I wanted
It's an anti-material
Perfect
rifle.
for the border.
I want to ask you about your weapon collection. I don't like outing people because it's like I want everyone to think that everyone's armed. I don't want everyone to ever be like, no, I don't have any weapons. But do you want to talk about that?
I mean,
Give me the Fifth
I live in
Amendment. if you-
D.C., so
Yeah, no
yes,
guns.
I have pepper spray.
Oh, I don't even know that's legal.
It's not.
Oh, geez. Let's read.
You
let's,
can leave it
let's,
on the sidewalk.
We should not talk about that.
That's crazy. That's not legal.
let's read
It's
this. We're gonna
crazy.
read some more super chats. We got this from
Nice.
Mass Genocide says, "Yo, Kellen, where is the onboarding channel in Discord?"
The onboarding channel. So you're gonna get that once you interact with BeanieBot. Now I got a text from the tech ops that the Discord thinks BeanieBot is spam, which probably someone reported it. Probably a troll reported it.
That's why we had to do gating.
Yep. Now I know the tech team's working on clarifying the instructions for anyone that's having trouble in Discord. So just please be patient. We have like 2 people working on it, and they're working all day. So there's a lot of different things, but it should be there. It should be there, and it depends on your membership tier, right? So that's how you're going to determine what you see in the server.
All right, Defender X says, when you mentioned the time loop, I thought of that Futurama episode. Plus, Tim, you missed an opportunity to wear a green beanie. Come on, man. A green beanie. I don't have one.
I came with a
I have a
green
red
shirt. It's a subtle green shirt, but
I'm
I got green pants on.
I got nothing green.
I could have worn my green jacket. I wasn't even thinking.
Tim was looking a little green in the face when we showed up.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, I was personally green, so I didn't think I need. Is everybody wearing some kind of green? Ian's not wearing green.
Green pants, but they're like
No,
olive
they're
green.
Not. Those are not green.
Barely green.
Really?
You're not supposed to
What
red-
color would you call
They
it?
actually do look green on camera.
Yeah.
They do.
But you're not supposed to wear red.
Oh, that's racist.
Yeah, I don't know where it comes from, but that's what I was told. You're not.
We got to
supposed
do a Cast Castle bit now where Seamus shows up at the house and is violently angry over this bit.
Probably will.
And then he like gets revenge on everybody.
First Joe Biden and now you.
I thought you were my friends. Seamus, no, please. It was a joke. Racism's no joke, Tim.
Let's get this fun fact from Not Tim Burton. It says, fun fact, sweet potatoes are in the morning glory family.
Really?
While potatoes are in the nightshade family with tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant. Nightshades. I hear that nightshades can mute your pineal gland or some crap, like make people like nightshades are toxic in large doses.
Yeah, nightshade
tomatoes
can kill you.
They're like mind control substances. I've heard in
Eggplant
quotes.
or nightshades, right?
Maybe tomatoes. So they say like ketchup is a big part. Potatoes and ketchup, which is French fries and ketchup. It's a big like sedative.
Like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Remember that?
The nightshades.
You guys, wasn't that a movie or something?
Attack the Killer Tomatoes, yeah.
The mandrake. You ever see a mandrake root?
Oh yeah,
It
the
looks
one
like a human.
from Harry Potter that screams, and if you hear it scream, you die.
That's wild. They're
Yeah.
apparently they're poisonous, and they look like men. It's crazy.
There was that
Humans.
dude who went into the wild, and they made that movie about it called Into the Wild.
Into the Wild.
And then he ate the wrong seeds and got real sick, and then died.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was
crazy.
isn't that was a different dude than the I'm friends with bears guy that got mauled.
Oh yeah, his wife got eaten, and he's on video screaming. Oh, they're eating us! Like, well, yeah.
What's
dude,
that
you
called?
think a
What's
bear
that
was gonna do?
movie called? It's Werner Herzog did the movie on the bear guy. What's that?
He got eaten.
Yeah, and his girlfriend. They both got devoured, and you can hear it.
Yeah.
It's like they're
I'm a
and she's like,
dumbass.
fight him off, fight him off.
So stupid.
Oh, what a
God,
horrible! Yeah, and he like goes to the guy's mom or something. He's like, don't ever listen to this audio. She goes, I won't, Werner. I won't. It's Ugh.
So dumb.
Grizzly Man. That's the name of that documentary. I still haven't seen it. Here's a super chat from Omega731. Tim, sorry for the belated birthday gift. Could not super chat in member mode, but here's enough for HBO Max for a month to enjoy the series Babylon 5. Since you enjoy SG-1 and Star Trek, I feel you also enjoy this
Dude,
series.
Battlestar Galactica is lit.
What season are you on?
I finished Battlestar Galactica. Are you serious? I watched that 10 years ago.
Oh.
Was it 10 years ago they redid that?
It was longer than 10 years ago.
Omega's talking about Babylon 5. Have you seen
No, yeah,
that?
no. I've seen only passively some episodes. I need to watch it. But Battlestar Galactica is so brilliant. The philosophy, survival. Basically it's about humans create AI. The AI wipes out humanity, and they have these interplanetary colonies, and all that's left is like one small fleet of humans because everything's been destroyed, and the AI is tracking them down, trying to kill them. And so that's like, and then there's politics like there's a coal mining ship that recycles raw materials for fuel, and everyone who works there is a slave. So like, because they have to. If you stop working, we all die.
Is this like the future with the Earthlink, whatever?
No, I don't think they have that.
That's scary.
But like the officers live in luxury, and because they have to, they're in charge. And then the poor people in the mining ship are like, I can't work 18 hours a day every day. I'd rather die. And they're like, you can't. Yeah, you have to keep working. And they make kids do it. And they start doing. They finally have like a revolt, and there's like a rotation now where everyone has to do it, otherwise they die. Dude,
Brutal.
that's a good show.
Child
And then it
labor is
ends-
terrifying.
Well, I don't want to spoil the ending, even though it is like a 13-year-old show.
Yeah, and it's based off a show from the 70s. Did you ever see the original?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some of the
original
original.
I've never
Stargate
seen that.
SG-1, pretty sure at Joe Rogan's new comedy club, the stage is a Stargate. Have you seen it?
Is it really?
Yeah, pretty
That's
sure
kinda
the stage
cool.
is a Stargate.
Comedy Mothership?
Yeah, look up the picture from Lex Fridman on Instagram, and it's basically pretty sure the stage is a Stargate.
Whoa. I want to go. It just feels good watching them.
I mean, maybe we can do an event there. I know we're not comedians, but maybe Joe would let us.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, we're going to be in Austin on the 14th, so I'm definitely going to check it out one day.
If you want, we can get the AK guy to bring us to see if we'll shoot his AK-50. He doesn't have it done.
AK-50.
But he's got parts for it. Brandon's
I
great.
wanted to get a 9mm Makarov rifle.
Yeah.
And it needs to be custom built, and like people have offered to make it. So for those who don't know, Makarov 9mm rounds are Soviet. They're slightly shorter, I believe, than Luger, so they don't work in regular handguns. So I have a whole bunch of Soviet ammo. I would love to get,
Dude,
some
I'm
carbine for.
looking at this image from Lex Fridman about the Stargate. It's Rogan's stage is a Stargate. It's
Yeah.
lit up, but it's only half a Stargate. The other
Right.
half's underground.
Well, I think
gotta go under the mothership.
he had to make it distinct from a Stargate.
I see.
So it's like you can kind of be like, that's a Stargate, isn't it? But he could always be like, no, it's not a Stargate. It's a UFO or something.
It's definitely half of a portal.
It's a Stargate.
I want to see the other half.
Yeah, because Joe watches good shows or whatever.
What do you got, Phil? You got a super chat?
Let's see. I don't know. Well, it keeps moving. Let's see.
Okay.
Hell, my name is MF from MF Damien. Hell, my name is Damien, and I was born at 7:06:66 minutes after 6 p.m. I'm not the Antichrist. I'm just some a-hole from a village. Dad loved cool names and nose candy. Saw the omen, so here I am. I'm so glad that I selected that super chat to read. Nothing like a super chat referencing booger sugar.
Booger sugar.
Here's one from S.A. Federale with a little bit of clarification. Wearing red, he says, is British. So that's a 1, Ian. Also, don't order black and tans. That's the Royal Ulster Constabulary nickname. Was that like
What are you supposed to order? An Irish car bomb?
Those are actually really good.
Yeah.
I used to drink it. It's Guinness with Bailey's. Shot of Bailey's that you drop in. I think?
It's whiskey or something.
That's an Irish car bomb.
Bailey's?
The
Guinness with
Guinness
whiskey.
with the Jameson and
Yeah. That's what I thought. Jameson. Yeah.
Jameson
And then you got to
and-
drink it really fast.
Kahlua, is that what it is?
No.
it's Bailey's and Jameson in the shot.
Bailey's and Jameson.
And then you drop the shot into the glass. And then
you got to drink it
slam
fast. It starts to curdle.
Yeah.
Super good.
Dude, Guinness is awesome. I don't really drink all that much, but Guinness is on its own level.
It's the best beer.
There's not a lot of booze that I missed. I miss car bombs. Those are good.
They were so good.
Is that racist?
I don't think so.
Horrific name.
I know.
It's an Irish
car bomb.
We've been dissing the Irish all night long, so I don't think there's any reason to stop.
Dude, there was a period where Gen Xers and Boomers were pretty based. Making all these offensive jokes and stuff.
I think the Gen Xers and Boomers basically are probably pretty based. They just don't want to listen to the millennials and stuff cry. It's just constant stream
I'm
of
telling
whining.
you, we gotta offer up as a government program a communist utopia.
Oh, yeah?
It'll be cheaper in the long run. It'll save your country. Say, we're going to fund it. I am willing to pay a premium tax to create an island where all the communists can opt to go. And when they do opt in, it's like a 5-year commitment. And they can live under their perfect socialist order. And then we don't have to worry about it.
I would like Gen X to be louder. If that's what it takes, I don't know. No, I'm not into that.
Yeah, I mean, they were the Pepsi generation,
It's
right?
kind of not our deal, though.
My dad was like, hey, Ian, I want to start a show. And I was like, after he made like some joke, like off-color joke, I was like, yeah, probably not. But then after I said that, I was like, no, I want him to make a show. That was terrible that I was afraid that for my father to be canceled. Like, what? It's better he makes a show than doesn't.
It'd be funny if he was like, I want to do a show. Like, what about? Well, I just plain don't like Irish people. Like, okay, is that what the show's about? You got it.
By the way, if you want to follow my dad on YouTube, it is Cosmoinkus, Cosmoinkus. He's got some videos from about 12 years ago playing guitar.
The progenitor of Ian.
Yeah,
I wonder what that must look
They
like.
called him Cosmo when he worked for the fire department. I didn't think much of it as a kid, but he's out there.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. It was way before I smoked weed.
You guys want to read some more super chats?
I do.
Here we go. You want to read that one, Phil?
From Roland Proper, Bill Gates owns patent 060606, and its purpose lines up with the Bible's prediction. Oh,
yeah,
no.
it's a patent for tracking body functions to grant you access to a cryptocurrency.
Oh, God.
And its number is 666. Like, come on, man. When he got that patent, if it was really an accident, he'd be like, what the? He's like, I changed this. Are you crazy? People are going to come after. No, he was like, this is cool.
No, this is cool.
I want to read this super chat because it's a relatively large one. It's from Get a Pair with Sully. I don't really understand it, but I'm going to read it. It says, we lost in committee against the Minnesota Dems anti-third party bill. We convinced enough Dems to vote no, so the Dem chairman decided to lay the bill over into omnibus spending bill.
Wow.
No more debate, no chance for veto. Now it's time to work twice as hard.
Dude, the system just doesn't exist anymore. Democrats are just like, we can do whatever we want. No one will do anything about it. Biden, you had Cuomo during the lockdown. Supreme Court says you can't shut down churches. He goes, okay, I'll just make a new order. Sue me over that one. And then what has to happen is you got to sue him over the new order. Then when the court strikes it down, he'll then shut down again with a new order. And he'll be like, yeah, this order got, countered, but what about this one? They just do whatever they want. There's no repercussions. I think,
That's wild.
it's all coming crashing on.
We should really get Lucas Botkin on because we could talk about he's got a lot of insight into like civilian firearms ownership and communications and extracurricular activities with firearms and stuff.
You know what I want to do? I want to get a Christian prophecy scholar for the culture war at some point.
Badass. I wonder if
And then you
Prager,
can
Dennis
come on,
Prager
the
would do
three
it.
of us will just talk about it.
That'd be
well,
awesome.
not Prager. I mean, I'm talking about some dude who's like that guy from Angels and Demons or the Da Vinci Code, like a Tom Hanks type guy who's like, I have tracked the Knights Templar. I know all the revelations, and like Donald Trump, and I'll be like, whoa, because it was fun. It was fun hanging out with Sovereign Brock because he was like, look at this, and I pulled it up and I was like, whoa,
about the Antichrist.
Yeah, about Donald Trump. The Twitter account is Donnie Darkened.
It's important because even if there isn't an Antichrist, it's important that people don't freak out. That's the most important thing, whether it's real or not. Stay calm.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm freaking out.
I don't tend to believe in the Antichrist. If the Antichrist turns out to be real, that will be at least slightly on the freaky side.
The upside is apparently the return of Christ overrides the Antichrist and brings peace to the world.
If you believe in Christ, if you repent, whatever. All right, everybody. If you haven't already, would you kindly smash that like button so I can go to bed? And Luke got me onto those beds that heat up, so I'm going to blast the heat because I got a fever and just like watch scary movies and then probably have no weekend because I ate garbage food from a garbage place. But smash the like button, become a member at timcast.com. The Discord server is up. There are some issues, but we're working through it. It literally just went live. And you can hang out and chat 24/7 in the Discord server. We do have rules because the purpose of the server is not a free-for-all open space of saying whatever you want. It's literally to track current events, have discussion about the ideas, and share ideas in an academic way. Simply put, that's what we try to do on the show as it is. We try not to be like, I don't know, too just aggressive or nasty. We want to make sure that our ideas are actually backed by sound arguments. And we also don't want to get banned. So that means we got to watch out for people who are intentionally going in to try and sabotage it because we want to create a community. So anyway, become a member and smash the like button, all that stuff. Jenny, do you want to shout anything out?
Sure. Thank you for having me, first of all. And you can follow me on Twitter at Jennie Taer.
Right on.
What about you, Phil?
I am Phil Labonte, the lead singer of All That Remains. You can follow me on Twitter at Phil That Remains. On Instagram, I am Phil That Remains Official.
Yeah, thanks for your expertise on the border. That was awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Good to see you. I'm Ian Crossland. Follow me anywhere at Ian Crossland. Also, check out Pop Culture Crisis. I was on today with Dane Font, Mary Morgan, and Brett Dasovic. It was fantastic. Here's to many more.
And real quick, check out Mary Morgan on the Whatever podcast because she was like roasting these thoughts.
She's what the kids call based.
Yeah, that was funny. Anyway, Kellen.
Kellen PDL. Ian, I second that. I think Phil, myself, you are all recurring guests on Pop Culture from time to time, so we have fun there. And Seamus.
That's a really good point, man. I've never actually considered that.
Yeah, but the accent insults me.
That's fair too. You know what? Let's get him out of here. He's done. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.